Jessie Woo, VBS. I just turn the water on. Big old flex. She never saw before. He's chasing me like waterfall.
What's up, guys? It's your sister, Jessie Woo. Welcome back to another episode of Just a Couple Things, yeah. Your favorite new podcast. Make sure that you are subscribed. Ooh, Lord, I'm doing a lot of singing, ain't I? Subscribe. Make sure that you're subscribed to Just a Couple Things on every platform that streams podcasts. And also make sure that you are subscribed here on my YouTube channel so that you can see the visuals, all right? Okay, so it's a lot going on this week. It is Thanksgiving week. And before we get into this episode, I just want to say how thankful I am for all of you. My tribe is strong. My Black women's tribe during Black women's, it's time to give thanks, Black Women's Month. My Black women's tribe is very strong. And we've been growing a lot this year. And I'm very, very thankful for all of you guys. I'm thankful for the encouragement. I'm thankful for the, helpful comments. I'm thankful for the bad ones too, because I always feel like there is some good in the bad. And so I'm really, really thankful for all of you. And I hope that this Thanksgiving is a beautiful time for all of you with your families, that you guys are able to get together with your families and give thanks. I also want to give thanks to the indigenous people of this country. They're the reasons why we're all able to live the lives that we do live, to be honest. They are the foundation of this country. And so as we give thanks, we're not going to sit here and act like the Native Americans was out here just, teaching the white people how to cook turkey in the season they meet. We're not going to do that, okay? We're not going to buy into the Pocahontas-style stories that white people have been telling us for the past couple centuries. That is not what happened. John Smith and them was not just sitting down around a round table with Native Americans just teaching them how to, season their meat, okay? And if we want to keep it frank, y'all don't season y'all meat today, so y'all ain't learned nothing, if that's the story. But we want to give thanks. I want to give thanks for the indigenous people of this country. This is a time for us to remember you and your sacrifices for this land, because this land is your land, okay? This land belongs to the Native Americans and to the Black Americans, all right? But yeah, so I'm really, really thankful for all of you. I'm thankful for the life that I get to live in this country. I always talk about being Haitian and being a Canadian-born Haitian, and every time I tell y'all that I'm Canadian-born, y'all act like y'all have never heard that before. But I'm Canadian-born. But as a Canadian-born Haitian living in this country, I know that I get to live the life that I live because of Black American sacrifice in this country. And I get to just enjoy the labors of the Black American community. And I just want to give thanks for you all. I recently went to the Black People Museum in DC, and I was there with Mr. Easter, and it just gave me another level of appreciation for all of you. Watching him just be wide-eyed and go through the museum and be able to tell me, yeah, I was able to trace back my family through slavery, and yep, we were one of the first people that were brought here in the Carolinas. And it just made me think a lot, and it made me it just gave me a new type of reverence for y'all, for all of you, for your community. And I'm just really thankful. I'm thankful for those of you guys who have chosen to follow me. I'm not Black American, but I feel like I get a lot of Black American support, and I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm thankful for my Haitian community. I'm thankful for all my Caribbean family, sisters that follow me, my African, yesterday, this Asian guy emailed me a picture of his dog watching Just a Couple Things. I was like, what? And he was like, "Hey, whoa, this is my puppy," saying, "Hey, whoa," while he's watching your YouTube. So I'm just like, I'm thankful for all of y'all. I think some of y'all thought I was Asian too, because the woo, but you know, depending on who you are. If you are Haitian, woo means something else. We'll talk about that some other time. But no, I'm not Asian. I'm not Vietnamese. I'm not Chinese. I'm a Haitian girl. And Woo came from the MAC lipstick, Ruby Woo. And I used to wear it with other colors. And I was like, oh my God, this is the Jessie Woo. That's where my name came from. So yes, I mean, started to disappoint the Asian community, but I'm happy that y'all be here too. I'm thankful for all of you. So just wanted to give thanks. And I'm thankful to God that I get to, wake up every morning and I get to do this. This is honestly, I feel like every so often I'm dreaming another dream for my life. And I'm just really, really thankful. I'm thankful to God, and I hope that you guys can feel the God in me, that, watching my journey encourages you to live your life and live your truth and to use your talent and to use, what God has given you to make space for yourself in this world. All right, y'all, I'm about to get emotional, child. But in the spirit of giving thanks, I'm really, really thankful for my guest today. I get to sit down with a woman who many of you might know as a victim, but I want you guys to leave this episode of Just a Couple Things knowing this woman as a survivor. She is a survivor and she has a story, and I think that her story has been silenced a lot. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that she's a woman, that she's not a celebrity, also that she's a dark-skinned woman. There is just something about dark-skinned victims that is just kind of, it gives way to a lot of disregard. I just wanted to use my platform to give her a chance to really tell her story again, especially considering what has been happening lately in the news. We all know that Shyne, Puffy, Diddy, Brother Love Combs is behind bars at the moment, and there are so many lawsuits coming out. But one of the biggest lawsuits that he was hit with was the Little Rod lawsuit, and Little Rod's lawsuit mentioned Diddy boasting about setting the rapper Shyne up. And a lot of us are familiar with the Pew 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 that happened back in 1999 in a club in Manhattan in New York. But a lot of us don't know Natasha Reuben's story. She was a victim of what happened in that club that night. And so I wanted to give her the opportunity to share her story. And as someone who is very obsessed with the truth, like since I was a little girl, I've always been very, very obsessed with knowing what happened, why, who did this, what happened, where, how. I've always been obsessed with the truth. And I think that Natasha's truth and the truth really, really matters in the grand scheme of everything that we see unfolding with Shyne, Puffy, Diddy, Puff Daddy, Brother Love Combs. And so without further ado, let's get into this episode of Just a Couple Things. All right, guys, let's get into this episode of Just a Couple Things. I want to start off before I introduce a very, very, very special guest. I want to read a snippet or a brief part of a New York Times article that was written on February 6, 2001. And it says this: a woman was shot and wounded during a scuffle in a New York Times Square nightclub in late 1999, testified yesterday that she saw the hip-hop impresario Shyne Combs fire a pistol into the air just before a bullet hit her in the face. The testimony by the woman, NATANIA REUBEN, marked the first time that a witness definitely declared that Mr. Combs is charged in state Supreme Court in Manhattan with gun possession and with bribing a witness had a gun and that he fired it while at the nightclub. The only other witness who said Mr. Combs had a gun later softened her testimony to say only that she saw him holding a black object. Ms. REUBEN said that on that night of the shooting, December 27, 1999, she watched as Mr. Combs and one of his rap proteges, Jamal Barrow, Shyne, as we all know him, pulled out guns during an argument with a man near the dance floor club of Club New York on West 43rd Street. This is how the world was introduced to my guest today, NATANIA REUBEN. But NATANIA is way more than a victim. She is a survivor. She is a brilliant, brilliant woman that you all will be, for in fact, following after this interview once you see all the layers that she has to her. She's a God-fearing woman. She's a mother. She's a sister. She's a daughter. She's an auntie. And now she's my sister. She's my Caribbean sister. I want you guys to help me welcome NATANIA REUBEN to Just a Couple Things.
Thank you, Jessie. Thank you so much. What an amazing intro.
Thank you. No, I have to acknowledge all the things that you are, because I feel like, and I've said this before to you, I feel like this is all people know about you.
Indeed.
And it's not necessarily their fault, but a lot of people have not taken the time out to look into who you are and to have more empathy for you and your story, and to be more intrigued by,
Indeed.
you know, where you're going, what your trajectory is. And I think just my intention for us sitting down is not only to talk about what happened in 1999, but to talk about who you are and where you're going and what your purpose is going forward. So I'm so blessed to have you here.
Likewise, I feel equally blessed. Thank you so much. First and foremost, it means a lot to me because I think people are hyper-focused on the sensationalist part of the story. Mm-hmm. And all too often in history, we hear someone as a news blurb for 20 minutes or 20 seconds on the news, and then there's no follow-up, and that's it. And as a survivor, we're entitled to reclaim our name, our life, our story. And so I thank you for having me.
Yeah. I think now more than ever, it is the perfect time to tell your story. First and foremost, who are you? Like I said, you're my Trinidadian sister. Mm-hmm. You are a mother. You are a lover of Christ. Mm-hmm. You spread the word of Christ. But I want to give you an opportunity to say who you are.
Well, thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to acknowledge my family members who, had it not been for them, I would not have made it through this tumultuous 25-year period.
Yeah.
December 27th, 2024 will make the 25th anniversary of getting shot in the face by Sean Puffy Combs. And needless to say, it has not been an easy journey. Mm-hmm. It has been marked with highs and lows, a lot of sadness, depression, and lots of other things, a laundry list of medical issues. Mm-hmm. And so I want to take a moment to acknowledge my mother, Gloria, for had it not been for her when they were wheeling me in, I don't know that I had the strength to make it. I felt myself slipping away, and I didn't necessarily feel a fight. Wow. My sisters, Nikki, Danny, Chantel, my children, I'll say Nirvana and Donovan. My middle child likes to remain anonymous, but you know who you are, mommy's middle child. And my countless, my granddaughter, just people that give me a reason to keep going. Mm-hmm. Indeed, I'm a Trinidadian woman. Shout out to the Trini Massive.
Yes.
Jamaican Massive, and my Haitian Massive. Yes.
Not boule.
Hey, my godmother is Haitian, and she was very instrumental in my life as well. Mm-hmm. Shout out to my godmother. Aww. So Irene St. Victor, rest in peace. But there are two people who are very prominent in this story, and I can't forget them.
Okay.
My grandmother, Vivian Amelia Mead, God rest her soul, and her friend Jean Smith, God rest her soul as well. Mm-hmm. When I was 5, I was at my grandmother's house. My grandmother and Jean Smith both immigrated from Trinidad. Okay. They lost contact with each other when Jean Smith came to America first.
Okay.
And then they rekindled. They found each other back. And a very vivid memory of mine is when I was 5 years old, Jean Smith was at the house with my grandmother, and she said, Vivi, you have to watch out for this one. She is very special. And my grandmother said, yeah, I know, she has the gift.
Wow.
She said, come here to me, young lady. I walked over to her. She held my hand and held my chin and said, people will come from far and wide to hear you speak.
Wow.
I was 5.
Wow.
I had no idea what that really meant, the weight of that, and the gravity of what I would have to endure in order for that to take place. But one thing I know about the God I serve, his word will not return to him void.
Yeah.
And he is an on-time God. And I thank him for saving me for a time such as this. And the word says, cry aloud and spare not. And I ain't here to spare nobody.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen to that. I love that you hold on to Christ so much. I watched an interview where you talked about your relationship with Christ and how, oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we're just going to put that here just in case. I watched an interview of you where you talked about becoming saved literally before the incident.
That's right.
And I wanted to ask you, why do you think, or have you ever had a moment where you ask God, why did this happen after this? Because I feel like as a Christian, so many people follow Christ and then they believe, okay, everything's supposed to be great now. Let me go get baptized. I'm going to live a new life and everything. I'm just going to run off into the godly sunset. But you found Christ and then you got shot in the face.
Yeah, so first and foremost, that's a great question. So I actually knew God my entire life. I grew up in the church, my family, especially my grandmother, extremely devout woman, like literally. My grandmother wouldn't say the word tomorrow. It was tomorrow, please God. That's what I grew up hearing. So,
and Haitians say, si Dieu veut, always, yeah.
So, you know, when you get a certain age, you become a young adult, you start to pull away. You know, in the Amish culture, they call it a rumspringer. You want to go see the world.
Backsliding.
Exactly. And so, you know, I did my thing, but my grandmother kept saying, come to church with me. And so I became a mom, and my grandmother took my kids to church every Sunday. I mean, their lives were centered in the church. There got to a time where my kids started saying, Mommy, come to church with us. And I was like, I don't got nothing to wear. And my son was like, God said, come as you are.
Wow.
He was 7.
Your son said this to you?
Yes. So I had, what could I say? I had to go. He said, God said, come as you are.
I don't want to stop your train of thought, but for your son to say that, that tells me the woman you were already. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I knew that that is where I was supposed to be. I had all my life had felt a calling to the pulpit, and I ran like Flojo. I'm talking one arm out, one leg out, ran from it because it just felt like something bigger than me, something higher, something unattainable. And so, you know, we live in a society where people tell you what your place is and tell you to stay in it. And so I didn't ever hear anybody tell me that the pulpit was my place. I wasn't aspiring for it. But the one thing about the God we serve, he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called.
Amen.
And so
true.
Clearly, even though my trajectory that I set for myself was thrown off, clearly, perhaps that's the trajectory that God has me on.
I love that. And so do you ever feel that, or did you ever have a moment where it was like, okay, why would you let this happen to me? I just like rededicated myself. You were 30 at the time. You're going
29.
into your 29 at the time. You're going into your 30s. Like that's supposed to be like the decade where, you know, like everything is, and then this happens to you. Did you ever like question God?
When I was young, I came up with this thing. When I was 9, I started noticing my body was changing. I could feel it. And I was telling people like, you know, and they would say like, you know how Caribbeans are, stop posting up your hips, stop posting up your hips. And I wasn't doing it, so I didn't understand what they were saying. It just so happened that I read a book named Dini by Judy Blume. You remember Judy Blume?
Yes.
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I read this book, and everything that Dini was going through is what I was going through. I was a formally trained dancer. Iyanla Van Zant was my dance teacher. Yes, I grew up in the arts, completely dedicated.
What?
Yes.
Oprah Iyanla?
Yes. Iyanla.
Not
Iyanla.
on my watch, Iyanla.
Beloved Iyanla was my dance teacher from as young as I
Pop
was.
It meant a different thing for Harriet Tubman, Iyanla? I did not know she was
Indeed, a phenomenal dancer. Oh,
seriously?
She's multifaceted. People have yet to behold the grace and grandeur of this woman.
Wow.
Yet. I grew up with her children.
The more you know.
Damon and I were in the same class. Like, those was my peoples. And so she taught me a lot about who I was as a person.
Wow.
My mom had cut my hair when I was 9 years old. I loved to play in hair. My grandmother was a hairstylist. I kept changing my hair every day at school. So she was like, I'll show you. And she chopped all my hair off. I was devastated. Iyanla Van Zant said, I was pushing myself back to the back of the dance class. And she said, why are you doing back there? Why are you back there? And somebody said, she's mad her mother cut her hair. And she called me to the front and said, you are not your hair. Get up here and dance.
Period.
And those type of things freed me. So when I went to the altar for salvation, my salvation, this story is so much bigger than me just getting shot. That particular day, I was in church. The pastor came in, started preaching. Pastor A.R. Bernard of CCC in Brooklyn.
No.
Yes, that's my home church.
He's still there.
Yes, he's amazing. And that's where I got my salvation. So he started talking and he said, he stopped. He's like, stop. There's a woman in here. God is talking to you and he's talking to me. Come now. Come and get your salvation now. You are about to be tested. And instantly I knew it was me. Now, the sanctuary is big. It's probably like 6,000 people in there. I could not get up because, when you're in the body of Christ, they tell you, oh, they're going to think, people in the world are dirty, filthy, this, that, the other. And I didn't want to be judged. Plus, excuse me, when the enemy doesn't want you to get your salvation, when he knows that you are a soul for God, and he wants to interrupt that trajectory, he will tell you, look at them people, they're going to talk about you. They're gonna think. And he literally, it was the dichotomy of one on one shoulder and one on the other shoulder. The angel was saying, go. And the enemy was like, girl, look how they look around the church, waiting to judge. I wouldn't get up. And the church was in an uproar, like people were catching the spirit. And he was like, I tried. God is talking to you. You know who you are. Come now. I could not move. So he went on with the service. He went on. He said it again a couple of times. He got to the benediction and he said, stop, please, come. Had his hand extended. Come now. I cannot let you leave this. I am charged with your salvation. Come now. And I still didn't move. A lady sitting next to me, I had never met this lady or saw her a day before in my life. Stuck her hand under my bottom so far and pushed me up. And I thank God. She said, God said it's you. Get up. And pushed me up. And thank God for that lady.
What?
I don't know who you are, but if you remember that, please reach out to me. Lift me up. I got up. The church broke into revelry that you've never seen before. So imagine getting your salvation like that. I'm talking everybody is rejoicing.
Yeah.
And when I got down the aisle, this is how the pastor caught me. Promise you. He said, this, I walked up and he rested his hand and said, this is not the end. This is the beginning. You're about to be tested. As God as my witness. That is how I got my salvation. People were running around that church like it was the Olympics. Okay, the spirit was moving huge and big time. And so I literally felt washed clean as soon as I stood up. I mean, I was like, what was I waiting for? And it felt so good. I literally, now when you get saved, sometimes you go, the pendulum swings all the way to the other side. Yeah. People were literally like, everybody called me Ebony. Don't go to Eb Shop. She's saving souls over there. Don't go, y'all. People were fleeing from me like I had the
You was
plague.
getting your sister Mary Clarence on.
Honey, I was saving souls, honey. I was sold out for the Lord. And it was a bit much for people because, of course.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
And because it felt so good. And I was like, why did I stay in the world so long? This feels so right. Eventually, your pendulum will settle into the middle and you'll get to a comfortable place.
Yeah.
And so this story is about obedience. It's about a lot of things. Yeah. It wasn't just me, getting saved and I you know, because some people are like, if you were so saved, what you was doing in the club? It was about obedience.
Now, come
my
on now.
friend was having.
Now, every now and then we're going to have a little communion, please.
But
Please, every now and then we got to have a little communion now.
Asheo.
Hey, Jesus' first miracle was what?
Water the wine.
How you doing?
Okay.
How you doing?
Okay.
Water and the wine. Hello. Just want to remind the folks, the party was actually about to end, and Jesus was like, hold on, hold on. So, yeah, I hate when people say that, what you saved. Okay, like, it doesn't mean that you were in there doing unchrist-like things. You just listen to music.
And you know, it's so multifaceted, and so many people are so thirsty for the salacious part of it, they never really get this background. This is about God. Right. And sometimes his journey doesn't seem it's not so short, but it is so worth it in the end.
Yeah.
A month before, at Thanksgiving, around Thanksgiving, probably a couple of weeks before Thanksgiving, one of the guys, you know, they hang on the block, the street representatives, you know, they would always watch my shop and watch me. They just would protect me. They knew I was young. I had 2 beauty salons. They had my back, and I appreciated them. Well, one of them, his name is Shaka. His mom used to work for ACS, and she came to me, and for those who are unaware, Administration for Children's Services. She was one of my clients, Miss Pat. Pat, if you're still out there, I would love to talk to you. I would love to interview you.
Come on, Miss Pat
literally came to me and said, Eb, I need my hair done. You know, something had happened to a child, and the commissioner was calling everybody in. And she was up there in the ranks, and she just needed it. She was like, I don't have no money right now. I said, girl, come on in here. She came in. I did her hair. She said, I'll pay you next. I said, don't sweat it whenever you get a chance. Her sons watch my back to make sure I'm not robbed. So Pat came back right before Thanksgiving, and it was like, here, Eb, and gave me a Bloomingdale's gift card as well. I was like, oh, this is not necessary. You didn't have to do this. She was like, I want to do it. So every Thanksgiving, I feed the hungry. Nice. I went out shopping to feed the hungry. I said, before I went shopping that day, I said, let me stop at Bloomingdale's, see what they got. I walk in the first designer shoe store on the main floor in Manhattan, a pair of red boots.
Nice.
I said, I want those. My friend was like, don't buy the first thing that you see. We went to all the designer shoe stores, and I came back and bought those red boots. Those red boots saved my life. But it wasn't the red boots. It was my obedience. It was my kindness to a friend. It was her graciousness to give me the Bloomingdale's gift card. It was me going to the store and saying, hey, God showed me what I needed. And I went elsewhere, and I came back to the beginning. Bought those shoes, went on, fed the hungry. We went to Club New York. Because I had fed the hungry all night. My friend said, come on, give yourself a break. I wasn't in the clubs. I was like, nah, I'm not going nowhere no more. At Christmas time, one of my girlfriends, Big Stacy, who is a big New York City promoter, literally was having a party. And I said, you know, I'm not coming out for, you know, I'm not coming out for, I go to watch night service. I'm not going to do it.
Okay,
but,
hello.
You know, but she was promoting her party, the run up until the event. And so I said, okay, I'll go with you guys after Christmas. And so I did so out of love for my friend, out of just, you know, it was the holidays. My grandmother said, give me my grandkids. I went with her. Yeah. We went. And then the day that will forever remain in infamy occurred. I got in. We weren't in the club an hour and 15 minutes. I didn't go deep into the club. I stayed right to the front. Across from the bar, there was this little spot, and there's a metal railing behind that, which if you look over the railing, it descends down to the dance floor.
I've seen the pictures.
Exactly. So I was right there at that metal railing. You know how it is. One person is like the designated driver, and you the bag holder. Yeah. Everybody goes off and do this.
Sister Mary Clarence was the designated driver.
Honey, I was in the corner, just there. And all in all, I didn't necessarily feel like I should be there. My girlfriends, before we left for my girlfriend Kelly's house. And she was like, wear one of my outfits. I was like, nah, let me go to my sister's house. So I went to my sister Chantel's house, got an outfit, and was coming out. When I was coming out, she said, stupid McNupid. I said, what? She said, be careful. I said, why you jinx me like that? It felt like a jinx. I went, got back to Kelly's house. They were going to leave me. They were like, you taking so long. We were going to leave you. As I was coming to the door, I had to finish up. They went down to the car. Coming to the door, her Rottweiler Brick jumps on my back while I'm putting my earring in. My earring falls underneath the fish tank that broke earlier that week. Now, we thought we got all the glass up, but we didn't. I cut my finger when I picked up my earring. So then I had to go wash my finger, put a Band-Aid, and then as I was stepping out of the front door, they were blowing the horn. 1 foot over the threshold, God said to me, go change your shoes. I'm a stilettos girl. I do not wear flats out.
Oh, so you was a stilettos.
I'm a stiletto. I used to stand in my beauty salon for
in stilettos?
18 hours a day.
That's that island girl. That's that Caribbean girl thing right there.
They say dress for the job. There you go.
Talon kiki.
So I said, I had on flat snakeskin ankle boots. I never wear flats out. God said, go change your shoes. I literally said to God, if I change my shoes, I have to change my accessories. He said like a father after that, go change your shoes. I went back and put on those boots I had just gotten from Bloomingdale's.
Okay.
Put on the boots, went to the party. They are coming up. They're on the dance floor. Puffy, Shyne, J-Lo, their entire entourage. I never see them. I'm not in the dance floor. I'm in the front. You walk in the door, there's this main level. The bar is on one side. The railing where I was on the other side. And in the middle is an open platform, and you can descend down the stairs to go to the dance floor. The only time I moved from there, one of my girlfriends came and said, I need to go to the bathroom. I walked the perimeter of the establishment. We went to the bathroom. I came right back. The guy, Scar, that they got into the argument with, his mother lived across the street from my beauty salon on Washington Avenue. I've known them. Everybody knew him.
Okay.
The way he self-describes, he's a ghetto celebrity. Everybody knew Scar. We would have...
In the documentary, in Shyne's documentary, which we're going to talk about too,
Indeed.
He talks about everybody knowing Scar too, I believe.
Everybody knew Scar. A lot of people had their idea of him. And listen, we all have a path to walk in this life. And far be it from me to criticize, judge, or cast aspersions on anybody's walk. But what I can say is, he would come and sit in the shop with me, and we had some of the most thought-provoking, amazing, deep conversations. I keep telling people we have to stop it with this streamlining of people. Everybody is one thing. No, we have duality in life.
Yeah.
You could be a 304 with a heart of gold.
Hey.
You could be a thug out there and give Thanksgiving turkeys and feed kids and make sure they got backpacks. Like, let's be real. I know a lot of hardworking, well-established, law-abiding citizens have never given a backpack to one person or Thanksgiving turkey or anything. Let's stop pigeonholing people that you can only be one thing. That night in the club, Scar sees me and he says, "Uh-oh, Pastor, what you doing in here?"
Not Pastor.
And we laugh. Yes. You know Brooklyn.
Pastor.
You know New York is merciless.
Yep.
They're going to joke
Yeah,
on
they're
you.
going to,
Thick skin. You got to have thick skin.
That's why I love New York.
I love it.
I love New York.
And so I was like, I laughed, and he said, "What you drinking?" I said, "I'm not drinking anything." I said, "Give me a juice." He was like, "What? You want me to buy juice in the club?"
So you didn't even
me.
have communion in
No
the
communion. No communion. It wasn't communion
It was a
Sunday.
dry night.
Yes. And so I drank my juice, and I stood in the corner, and I was good. I kept saying, I don't really feel like I should be here. I don't know why I'm here. I'm not feeling it. But I wasn't complaining. I was just in the zone, just in my zone, sitting there, seeing people. And what I really encountered that night was people walking in saying, "Girl, what you doing in here? Oh, let me see, you coming to do church service?"
You the pastor.
Yeah. They was telling me I was
expecting you
here
to
for-
lay hands on people.
There you go. They said I was coming for Sunday service. I was all of
Not in
that.
the club.
Yes, honey. It was hilarious. And I got a little kiki out of it. I
Yeah,
saw
it's
a lot
funny.
of people I hadn't seen in a while, and it was all good. I promise you, when I walked in that club, the young lady who was the security guard that went on to lie on the stand, Sharice Myers, come to the front of the room. I'd like to talk to you too.
Shyne mentions her lying
Yes.
too.
She's a liar. When I walked in the club, I had a little, back in the days, we had the little Prada black bag that you could just cuff over your arm, a little club bag. She's searching my bag. I have a rat tail comb in my bag. This woman wrestled a rat tail comb. "You can't take this. This is a weapon." What am I going to do? Comb someone to death?
No, seriously. Like, let's be for real.
The irony is someone on the internet, and that's why it's important for these stories to get out, because people can connect dots and
Make up
and
their own
illustrate
stories.
things, but illustrate things to you that you never heard. Somebody said, "God is so merciful. She took your comb and called it a weapon. You went into the club and Combs shot you with a weapon." Sean Combs. My God is so infinite and amazing.
Oh my
It
gosh.
never occurred to me until 2 months ago somebody said that. Now, how merciful
That
is our
is
Father God?
wow.
Wow.
No, seriously.
Yeah. And that's why it's
Whoever
important.
said that ate.
Profound.
Yeah,
Profound. I'm talking.
That's remarkable. That's
all
a
you
remarkable.
can eat
Yeah,
buffet.
yeah. Nothing left on the plate.
And I said, my mind, I mean, no pun intended, my mind was blown. I
Yeah.
was like, wow.
Yeah.
It never occurred to me.
Yeah. She took your comb.
And I went and took my comb and called it a weapon. And then let Sean Combs in with a weapon, and he shot me in my face.
Combs. Yeah. Yeah.
The irony.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
she wrestled my comb away from me, but then you let these celebrities in with guns.
Yeah. Multiple guns.
And we know, I don't care if you're from the hood or hood adjacent, or you got a cousin, Pookie and Man that live in the hood. We all know when dudes be riding out, if they got one of them Jenny from the block kind of girls, she holds the gun.
And did.
And did.
And did.
There is a podcast called The Proffer. He is a retired police detective. He interviewed the two lead detectives on the case, Joe Sweeney and Artie Cadigan. I remember their names and remember them from back then. This is 25 years. He interviewed them 3 months ago. Their interview, I just found the interview like a couple of weeks ago, literally vindicated everything I've said on every piece of recorded material,
For the last
every
25
video for the
years.
last 25 years. They vindicated everything I said. They even told me a few things that I wasn't aware of. They literally said, like I described, when the melee started, they were ascending the staircase. The Puffy, J-Lo, Wolf, Shyne, their whole entourage, and then the hangers-on that try to move with, whoever the celebrity is. I don't know if they were going to the bar or wherever, but they were moving with them.
You saw this movement happening.
I saw them ascending the stairs because it became like a big rush into that area. And so people were pushing and trying to, and it was the crowd swelled right in that area. Kelly was standing next to me. Shyne literally reached over the crowd and was like, Kelly, and reached out and touched our fingers. Oh, yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, let's get to it. Not the victim said, I didn't shoot her. Your friend, Shyne.
Wait, I'm sorry. I didn't want to laugh, but Shyne does have
Code switch.
Yes.
Code switch-itis.
Yeah. He does.
He has code
Yeah.
switch-itis,
Yeah.
manipulation-itis. You in one venue, yo, son, because
Yeah.
me and my peoples. The next son, well, theoretically, I presume that this is blah, 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 blah. The victim said I didn't shoot her. Let's get into that.
Wait, before we get into that, before we get into Shyne believes Barack Obama, you see the ascension happen, and
He reaches out and touches us.
yes, he
Hails us
acknowledges
up.
you by name.
Listen,
So that says what?
Shyne, I have a recording I have to give you so you can put into this
I would love
video
to.
as B-roll.
I would love to.
As a matter of fact, allow me to play.
Oh, you
a
could play
tidbit
it.
of it.
Please do. Please do.
Allow me to play it because it'll be quite eye-opening for those who don't know. There are a few people who think I'm some run-of-the-mill scallywag looking for a buck. I'll have you know, Miss Gloria Thompson, who came from Trinidad at 15 by herself, built an empire here. There's nothing scallywaggish about me.
Period. As you find the recording, though, I think this is the first time people will realize that you all were friends.
The story is much deeper than he tries to portray, which is what irritates me. So this footage is a part of, I created a docuseries.
Okay.
In the 25 years of healing, there were a lot of pitfalls along the way because there was no blueprint for it. We always knew that people got shot, but 25 years ago, it was like, Pookie and Man, I'm sorry I keep calling y'all out, but y'all rep for us. Pookie and Man robbed the liquor store and got shot.
Okay.
Or there was some, drug shooting and they got shot. It wasn't mom, wife, business owner of 2 salons in Brooklyn is shot. There was no, by the most famous person in the entertainment industry at the time, there was no help for me. Who do I go to? Who can commiserate with me?
Right.
Who can relate? I was in uncharted territory. And so it was very difficult. So over the period of 25 years, God has spoken to me and told me to create a docuseries to help people reclaim their life, their identity, their story, their dignity. And it's called SHOT. It's an acronym, Survivors Helping Others Through.
Oh, wow.
I've tried, I had
That's
5,
beautiful.
Thank you. I had 5 different directors and producers. My director of record is Raheem Shabazz, one of my friends. He's a documentary maker. Everybody else that was supposed to executive produce and help us get the project out was so overwhelmed. Oh, this is beautiful. As soon as they found out that Puffy was the person that shot me, baby, they said,
they backed
me.
away.
They backed away. Don't
Yeah.
call me. Forget don't never mention my name.
Yeah.
You need to leave this alone. I said,
But you understand
what
why.
measure of man are you?
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah.
Is this your leader? Is this your leader? But,
Is this your king?
There you go.
But also, too, before you get the recording, you said something about the boots saving you. I didn't want to lose that track.
Yeah.
How did the boots save you?
Let me save that for a minute because
Okay.
it's in line with the story.
Okay.
So let me let you hear Mr. The Victim. You seem to have forgotten my name over this 25-year period. But when you were looking for a record deal and Manny was managing you, and he called me when I was in a studio session and asked, could I let you come and get on the session? And you came through and we chilled. And even when we went to a restaurant and you had no money, I fed you to save your dignity from you having to ask another grown man to pay for your food. Because what were you then? A bike messenger? A little brokey challenge? Whatever. I digress.
Wait a minute now, because when you watch the Honorable Shyne, he says he was yeah. Have you watched the documentary?
I have not watched it. Many people have commented to me. I will go home and watch it today.
Oh, yes. You need to watch it.
Now, I am
because
aware.
you come up several times.
I am
Your
aware,
face
though.
is in it too.
I've quite a few people have mentioned that to me. And it is absolutely unequivocally in violation of the Son of Sam law of New York, a.k.a. David Berkowitz, the Son of Sam serial killer. You cannot profit from your crime, nor did you seek my approval or get a release for me for you to use my likeness, my image, my face, my voice, or anything. So
Wait a minute. Nobody reached out to you for a release?
And you still owe me $500,000 from the settlement because when we settled in 2011, everybody responsible and culpable was assessed a level of responsibility and you never paid me. You're so honorable, but your honorable self owes me $500,000. And earlier this year, you and your attorney tried to get me to sign a paper saying you didn't shoot me to give me I got all the documents.
Wait.
Les, come to the front of the room, honorable. See, a lot of people talk about Puffy changing their name, but Shyne did too. Same MO. I don't know how people are so oblivious to this. Shyne is Jamal, Shyne, Moses, Michael, Levy, Barrow. Puffy number 2. But I digress. Let me get back to the recording.
No, but it's funny, but
For his pistol, that's when I shot him in the shoulder.
They shooting.
For the NATANIA REUBEN, that was my homegirl.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we knew NATANIA. We used to go to the studio with her, and everything was everything. Although we don't know if it was my gun, you know, that hit her with the ricochet, because it was like 4 other guns. And it was a terrible situation because, like I said, she was my friend, so I'm sorry that she had to suffer.
I don't sleep. Living on stolen time.
When I seen that kid reach
That's
for his
you.
pistol, that's when I shot him in the shoulder.
They shoot.
So let's get into a couple of things. Who am I again? The victim or your friend NATANIA REUBEN? Not the least of which is, for 24 years you walked around saying, I was the fall guy. I didn't do anything. You forgot about this recording from the Combat Jack podcast back in the days while you were still in jail? You see that amnesia and that famnesia? It never works. If you don't have a high moral plateau and a level of respect, you will always fall because of your own word. I don't play a game of your word against mine, baby. I play a game of your word against you every day.
no, because I'm
The plot thickens, doesn't it? So now I don't look like a disgruntled woman
Right.
who can't get over it, who's capping and still talking about the same thing, and it was a mistake, he didn't mean to. I don't look like that anymore, right? Oh,
I was watching. Let me see if I can bring up since we bringing up clips. I want to bring up. He was on the Breakfast Club, and there is a moment where Charlemagne says that. Actually, Charlemagne said, because I noticed when he was doing the Breakfast Club interview, he never says your name. He always says the victim, the victim, the victim, the victim. And then finally, Charlemagne said your name. And this was his response. I think this is it here. Hold on. Trying to find the right timestamp. Okay. I think I'm finding it. It is Charlemagne asking if he has ever spoken to you.
Because even today,
Hold on.
please don't call this witness. This witness is going to bury me. And he called the witness.
Why? Why wouldn't he listen to everybody? Like, why?
Because he wanted to save himself. The strategy is somebody got to go to jail. And it ain't going to be Diddy. So you got to be Shyne. And the plea agreement that the DA was giving me, because the DA wanted me to testify against Diddy. And he called me in for what they call as a proffer. So in the proffer, they wanted me to come in there and be like, yo, he had the gun. He passed me the gun. He started shooting. It was him. And I refused to do that. And so the DA was like, okay, I'll give you a plea deal for 13 years. So yeah.
Just before they get into that, just for you guys listening, if you watch the Breakfast Club interview, he's just going over how basically why he took the plea. And it just was, the name of the documentary is The Honorable Shyne, because he feels that he was honorable by not snitching and by just going along with what was being said. His team of lawyers had told him, hey, flip. And he wouldn't flip and tell what really happened. But once they get to the trial, his lawyers basically throw the case. And we're going to get into that too, because there's a lot to discuss there too. But he says that they throw the case, and basically that's why he ended up where he ended up. But Charlemagne then mentions you.
So that's what happened.
Have you ever spoken to the woman who was shot in the face, NATANIA REUBEN? Because she's been speaking out recently.
No, I haven't spoken to her. I apologize and I regret. I think I did Kojak? What's the name
So
of the brother?
funny.
Is it Reggie Oseas? He was
Combat Jack.
Combat Jack.
Rest in peace.
Combat Jack.
Rest in peace. I had done an interview with him, and I had extended, sorrow that she got hurt, and I've said it in interviews that I've done over the last couple of days when they asked, do I have any regrets? I don't regret defending myself, but I regret that people were hurt. And so I said that as far as, she's concerned.
She said it was Diddy.
Yeah, she said Diddy shot her. Yeah. But we don't know because the bullet fragments were never extracted from any of the
what a
victims.
lie. What a lie.
But
Listen.
definitely there were 3 guns fired. Mine and 2 other guns. And, she said what she said actually immediately to the doctor. She said, I just got shot by Diddy. But then when she got on the stand, she was trying to blame the both of us without blaming the both of us. And now she maintains that it was Diddy.
You think she got paid off?
I can't speculate. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I just know that, it was tragic. But, like I said, we pivot, we move forward, and that's what I did in the second reconciliation with Diddy.
He just goes on to talk about just pivoting and moving forward. I think he says a lot. Like, he says a lot, but he doesn't talk about the fact that you all were friends. And maybe it's because he knows that the clip that you just played is him admitting that you all were friends. So tell me how this listening to that makes you feel. And also, I want us to touch back on the fact that he said he hasn't communicated with you, but you just said that you were offered that he tried to offer you something in exchange for your silence.
So for my Haitian massive, I'm going to say it in the best way possible that you can appreciate, Jessie. Shyne, ou gen jari nan bouchou.
Ah, li plein jari.
Okay?
Plein jari.
That was a bunch of word
Diary.
salad.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
First of all, so many holes in that story. If you notice his Drink Champs interview from 2 years ago and all his other interviews, you never heard this dichotomy. The only reason this has come to the surface is because I have been crying aloud and sparing not and keeping my foot on the gas and all of y'all necks. That is why they have a publicist to craft his narrative and modulate it. I can only surmise that he's not saying my name because we had a settlement back then with a confidentiality clause. However, that I requested.
Okay.
However, a settlement confidentiality clause cannot stand when it contains, or any legal document, material misrepresentations, false pleadings, lies, and omissions of fact. As well, if you were adjudicated and had a set of things that you had to fulfill in order for it to stand, and you did not fulfill those things, the document is void on its face. So go ahead, Shyne, say my name, because I'm saying yours, and you, Puffy, and all of y'all can cease and desist this. If you want to cease and desist me, go and get Yeshua and God. That is my cease and desist. The rest of y'all could kick rocks barefoot. I won't play this game of semantics at all. You are a charlatan. You are a gaslighter. You are a manipulator. You are a true politician. What do you mean you was honorable? I thought you were an upright citizen of the world that had a major recording deal and you were a businessman. You was honorable to what? Being honorable to the code of no snitching is street ninja stuff. Are you a street ninja or were you a businessman? Which is it? I know we got duality, but that's where you chose the hill you chose to die on? Why? You were a businessman with, by your own account, a multi-million-dollar deal. So you know how to code switch with your accents. You know how to code switch with your behavior. Honorable for no snitching. That is the sort of thing that keeps our culture broken. That is the sort of behavior that keeps our culture stagnant. When you are a civilian, snitching does not apply. Snitching only applies to hood ninjas in hood ninja business. So which were you? A hood ninja? Does that comport with your new Shyne, Mr. Politician? Because I won't dare disrespect Obama with that. He ain't have no scandals in his administration, but you do. I mean, let's get into the truth. This word salad, I won't tolerate it. And then, Charlemagne so disrespectful. Did she get paid off? What does that mean? You mean, was I made whole? Was I made whole for how my life was impacted by the reckless actions of Shyne and his compadre?
Well, I'm not the biggest Charlemagne fan. However, I think why he asked that is because when you watch the documentary, what the documentary portrays is that witnesses soften their testimonies. Even when you read the New York Times article from back then, they say the other witness softened their testimonies. When you listen to Shyne's rebuttal to him was, during the trial, you tried to blame them both.
Absolutely.
So I think that's why Charlemagne asked that.
And I didn't try to blame them both. See, this narrative, first of all, I want to put a final rest to this. I was the fall guy. No, Shyne, you were convicted for shooting Julius Jones in the shoulder. See, I wasn't the only person impacted that
Right.
night.
People forget.
I was shot. Julius Jones was shot in his shoulder by Shyne. You heard him just admit it. I pulled my gun and I shot that kid in the shoulder. And Robert Thompson was grazed. No one ever mentions them. I am the only person that has been championing their cause all this time. Because how disrespectful to be victimized by something and everybody forgets your name. Where was Hulu and other major networks who are the vanguards of entertainment and documentary and storytelling? Why are you not concerned with how have the survivors' lives turned out 25 years later? Instead, you're beholden to someone who is a politician but still wants to be honorable for no snitching. Like, really? It sounds almost like what the rappers say, that the record companies want them to rap trauma drill music to keep a culture down. That's what y'all doing too, Hulu? I mean, tell me. I don't know. Fill me in. I'm confused. You're not interested in, y'all love a story of overcoming, or perhaps I'm not the right complexion for my story to be told. Because that's a dichotomy that must be recognized as well.
I think that's something to touch on too. Is
why was J-Lo let go?
I was gonna say this too. J-Lo and even Cassie, although J-Lo wasn't a victim of what happened.
Excuse me, J-Lo was an active participant in the crime. She exited a vehicle, walked into a secure location with guns on her, passed the guns to her partner, who fired the gun and shot me in my face. And then once they were fleeing from the club, watch the Proffer podcast. The cops tell the story. While they were fleeing from the club, being chased by the police in a silver Navigator, there's a gentleman sitting in his car. He drives escorts around. The escorts were in their location, handling their BI, and he was sitting in the car waiting for them. He sees a silver Navigator fly down the street. The back rear window goes down, and a white, slender hand throws a gun out the window, and it lands on the hood of his car. Oh, no, honey. You cannot make this up. The God I serve. She throws the gun out the window, and it lands on the hood of his car. They flee, and the cops come flying down the street as well. So he's like, what's going on? He doesn't know what's happening. He eventually gets out, looks at his hood, takes the gun, calls his boss. Somebody just threw a gun out of the window of a Navigator. I saw a white hand throw a gun out. What do? He gave the gun to his boss. A day or so later, they hear everything going on. The boss takes the gun to the police department and says, this gun was thrown from the Navigator. They let J-Lo go 14 hours later.
Yeah,
immediately. You can go to any jail anywhere in this country, and probably the world, but certainly in any inner city, suburb, or hamlet or town, there is some guy who did good, went away to college, honored his parents, followed the rules, came home for a weekend, got in the car with his cousins, Pookie and Man, and there was a gun in the car. In New York, nobody claims the gun, everybody's gun. Why was J-Lo let go? Let's see now. We're going to play a little game they used to play on Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other. You know, they put a baseball glove and a baseball and a bat and then a roller skate. Who's the roller skate? J-Lo. Puffy darker than me. Wolf was tan, toasted almond. The driver, Wardell Fenderson, was a brown skin. And then the one light colored female hand out of the back rear passenger that throws a gun away is Jennifer Lopez. Jenny with the Glock, come to the front of the room. We need to talk. Because you gonna pay me my recompense. Without a doubt. You were complicit. You were a liar. You went into the grand jury and you lied to the grand jury. And you lied to the cops. You are going to account for your sins in this world against me. Jenny with the Glock. Sure got over that fast.
Well, Jenny with the Glock been catching a whole lot of heat this year.
Yeah, but she been catching it elsewhere. She done left the block alone. Or has she?
Ooh, clock that.
Clock that T. Shout out to Shamar. Love you, baby.
Clock that. I like that you brought her complexion. Do you feel like colorism plays a part, obviously, in J-Lo? But also, I think when you look at Cassie, who obviously she's a victim, we recognize.
Shout out to Cassie.
Yeah.
Sorry that you endured what you went through, and thank you for your strength.
Of course. But seeing how she's been received.
Okay, absolutely.
Do you think colorism plays a part?
Absolutely. Well, listen, it is not lost on me. We live in a world where whatever the mainstream, the dominant culture thinks, and let me change that dichotomy, the perceived dominant culture, because art, entertainment, culture, everything, we are the dominant culture. But I digress. The perceived dominant society, whatever they think they sanction and put their stamp on, that is when they pay attention to it. And whatever is aesthetically pleasing to them and palatable to them, they have a hierarchy of who deserves empathy, sympathy, and care and concern. I've been in these truth-telling streets for 25 years. Okay? I told the ambulance worker, I told the
doctor?
police, I told the surgeon who testified in the criminal trial, as well as me. I told them all. In fact, the surgeon was, they're acclimating you to time and space. They want to know, what is your name? Do you know where you are? What year is it?
Yeah.
Because they want to see if your brain is functioning and how well.
Right. They want to make sure
also
that
said,
you're sound.
Who did this to you? I screamed incessantly, Puffy did this to me. And that's not the least of it, because I was the most seriously injured. By far. We all were injured, and none of us deserved to be that.
You were, but you were shot like literally point blank in the face.
And when we got to the club that night, for the first time ever, I had not seen it before, there were 2 ambulances at the head of the street. Halfway on the sidewalk, halfway into the street, lopsided. And narrowing the block down to
Was that a
one
norm?
lane. Never seen it before. Never. When we got to the block, I said to my friends, whoa, what's this? Y'all not concerned about this? What are they expecting somebody to die tonight? Oh, come on, Holy Ghost, calm down. I said, no. I was discomforted by that. It was strange. It had never happened before. The block is usually full of cars. No. It just was a different night.
Yeah.
And so once the shooting occurred, one of the ambulances took me and one of the ambulances took Julius Jones. Does it not seem like this was premeditated?
Dang.
It's not lost on me. 9 or 10 years prior, he has the celebrity basketball game at City College, which I was supposed to go to, and 9 people die. That happened on December 28th.
Puffy, Diddy, Brother Love.
Yes. That happened on December 28th, 9 people died. December 27th, you shoot me in my face. The likelihood that the correlational relationship between those 2 dates is 0 is slim to none.
Do you feel that people around him just knew, hey, when he's going to be in certain vicinities, let's just make sure we have the medics on standby?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Because in the club, once I got shot, so look, I know we jump around, but you guys are critical thinkers. You can understand. You can handle the whole jump around.
Yeah.
As they ascended the stairs, Shyne touched our fingers. The club was swaying because there was so many people.
Yeah, let's go back here. Yeah, let's
so
go
many
back
people
here.
were trying to be a part of that entourage. A song was on that not until Black Rob passed away a couple of years ago, I realized I didn't hate him. I hated that song and I thought I didn't like him. But it wasn't that. The song was intrinsically tied to my shooting. That's what was on. Whoa, exactly. And so every time I heard that song, I was disgusted. Because that's what was on. Subconsciously, I didn't even realize the dichotomy until I saw this man laying in the bed suffering, and I was like, oh my God, I don't hate him.
Yeah.
That's how wicked this stuff is. But they were feeling their new artist song, vibing, moving back and forth, swaying, and the crowd was swaying. As they reached the bar, they were pushing and doing the most, and they bumped into Scar. Now, his back was to them, his face was to the bar, and so it spilled his drink on him. So instinctively, he elbowed back. He didn't know who was behind him. When he elbowed back, they pushed back, he turned around, and it became the whole machismo. Yo, you know who I am. You better recognize it all.
Ego.
Ego, male machismo, all of that. He pushed him. He pushed him back. He pushed Diddy. Puffy pushed Scar. Scar pushed him back. Scar's friend, who I've never mentioned his name, the cops on the Proffer podcast mentioned his name, Marcus, slapped Puffy in his face with a wad of money.
Oh.
You see what the young boys is on their telephone brick? He slapped him with a wad of money, and the money flew into the air and was like a rap. It looked like a hip-hop movie or a rap music video or something.
This sounds like a movie.
Money was flying everywhere.
Was people trying to take the money?
People was trying to snatch dollars out the air.
That would have been me.
All while this was happening. All while this melee is ensuing.
While the pushing is happening, people are trying to...
People are scurrying, trying to snatch money. People start screaming like, ah! It was just... And then I watched Puffy, and now once he slapped him with that money,
It was over.
I said to my friend, "Oh, this
Yeah,
ain't gonna turn
it's
out
going
right."
down.
But it was still in the 1900s, back when people used to knuck if you buck. I thought they were just gonna fight. I promise you,
Yeah.
it never occurred to me that these suckers at Christmas were going to pull out guns in the club.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of think that people have civility, and then that, you know, common sense, like, I own a record company, I employ lots of people, I'm not going to jeopardize anybody's life or my own by pulling a gun and shooting someone in the face. But I guess I'm wrong. So I watch him and Shyne start backing back towards the front door, reaching in their hip for their guns and reversing to the front door to get away from the melee. We all have seen that situation
Sounds
in
like
a
a
movie.
movie.
Yes. That's what they were doing. They were backing back towards the front door. And then I turned to tell my friend, "Oh my God, they're going to pull guns. Watch out." As soon as I turned back and looked directly at them, God said, "You're about to be hit."
No.
And I screamed, "No." And as I said no, pow, pow, the muzzle flashed. Shyne shot and Puffy shot. Listen to me. Shyne shot Julius Jones in the shoulder and Puffy shot me. I was watching them. Do I sound like a woman who lacks critical thinking skills?
Absolutely
who has a
not.
problem, who doesn't understand verb subject agreement? Do I sound like that?
No.
Do I sound like I have confusion and I'm not exactly sure when someone is dressed in all white, reaching to their hip, pulling a black gun out, that I can't distinguish what it is? I watched them. They were so masterful in their attempt to be deceitful. The coat that you see him walking out with, that is not the coat. That's not what he had on.
Oh,
He had
somebody
on
grabbed
all
something.
white. Somebody even said to me, a young person I know said, "How come they don't have actual mugshots?" You'll see Shyne's picture is
Yes.
an actual mugshot, but J-Lo is in front of a what do they call it? A bulletin board. And Puffy's in front of a concrete wall. How, Sway? You think they wore a t-shirt to the club? So there was a
That's
concerted,
so true. That's
yes,
oh my god.
there was a concerted effort to conceal the facts from the jump.
Immediately.
You think J-Lo walked her behind out at Christmas in an old raggedy t-shirt?
Hell no. Hell no. Especially not then.
Let's get into these facts.
Yeah.
See, what
Well,
their
actually,
problem
not
is,
ever.
What their problem is that they've never liked me because I was not the quintessential victim.
Of course.
I was not, I supposed to have went to the store and I ain't know anything. I'm not her. Now, I could be her, but I ain't her. I am Gloria's progeny who, baby, when I got in trouble, she said, "Get this dictionary. And when I come in this room, any word I ask you from the first 3 pages of the letter R, you better know the definition."
Period.
Okay? I don't have a problem expressing myself or espousing the details of what I went through. And the thing about the truth is, you don't got to remember. It rolls off your tongue like water.
Not only that, too, the thing about the truth, too, is facts will support it.
Baby. And facts ain't fiction.
No.
They're not opinion. They're not defamation. It ain't defamation if it's a fact.
Right.
And people need to get into that.
Right. Do you think that they were hoping that you would be a witness that they could manipulate? Were you ever
absolutely.
reached out to be manipulated?
Listen, was I ever reached out to? Well, the district attorney only got a call from a confidential informant that they put a bag on my head and Scar's head.
What?
Yes. Lil' old me. Lil' old Ebony the Trackmaster hairdresser. Yes. Because I was a threat to them. See, I didn't succumb to my injuries. And not only did I not succumb to my injuries, you know when you watch a horror movie and what do they always say? If you think about, all the old school summer camp horror movies, the killer comes and gets who first? The virgin. Well, I was a mother. However, I was born again.
Yeah.
Born again in the spirit.
Wow.
A spiritual infant.
Yeah.
And so I was the holiest thing in the club. And when you filled with evil, you are seeking to steal. We learned in Sunday school, the enemy comes to kill, conquer, and destroy.
Did you ever file a civil suit?
Oh, absolutely.
And what was the result of that?
Shyne owes me $500,000. That's the result.
What about Brother Love?
Oh, Brother Love had to give up that Skrilla, and that's why he hates me so much. Because his insurance company filed bankruptcy, and he had to pay me out of his pocket.
Oh.
He's notorious for not paying for anything.
Right.
His own words.
Yeah.
His own words.
His own words, his artist words, everybody who's done business with him
And
words.
that is why they can't stand me. Because you didn't get to kill, conquer, or destroy me. And I am the stone the builder refused, baby. I am the cornerstone. And I'm here to chop down these Babylon walls.
Did he ever try to pay you off?
They tried to pay somebody to take me out. Pay me off. They tried to pay for somebody to take me out. They put a bag on my head. A confidential informant in the street, no less, I'm sure someone who knew me, contacted the district attorney's office and said they put a bounty on my head.
How long did you have to deal with that?
I don't know that it was ever removed. They still harass me. I got harassed for 25 years.
What?
25 years.
Still.
Listen, somebody stole my license plate off the back of my car on October 7th. I will send you a copy of the thing where I had to go to motor vehicle to get another plate.
I mean, not that I wouldn't believe you, but I find it so believable because even
They
the
harass
Honorable
you.
Shyne said that in his documentary, he said that once all the stuff started coming out about Brother Love, and then the Lil Rod lawsuit, which mentions Puff Daddy Diddy boasting about
Shooting me?
Yeah, boasting about shooting you, boasting about setting Shyne up. He was in Belize and there was a press conference and that's when he said, listen, like this man set me up. He ruined my life. He said once he said that and that went viral, that Brother Love reached out to him and was like, hey, like I thought we were cool. And he's like, yo, like, yeah, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna take the fall for you again. And so Diddy, till this day, is still actively trying to hush people up. We see that even last week, it was said that from his jail cell, from his cell right now, it was shown that there was proof that he is still reaching out to victims, still trying to manipulate victims. So you're still dealing with that.
I need Shyne to, we have to settle this one misnomer. You was not no fall guy. You served 10 years in jail for shooting Julius Jones. Let's call it what it is. I'm sick of people with this stupid narrative. Because if somebody shot your mama, you don't want to hear that. I'm somebody's mama. I'm also somebody's daughter and sister and grandmother. Put some respect on my name. I'm not gonna play this game. Fall guy. I know every year Merriam-Webster updates the dictionary and changes some word. They extract a few things, they put a few new things into the lexicon. You know, when we, the dominant society, create a new word, they stick that in the dictionary.
Yeah.
Have they changed the definition of fall guy? Because the definition I knew, I'm a wordsmith, the definition I knew was that someone who has taken responsibility for a crime for which they are not culpable or responsible. Hello, must I play that recording again? You shot Julius Jones in the shoulder. And until I put my foot on his neck, he wouldn't even admit that. He always said, I'm the fall guy. I didn't do anything. Go look at the old footage. He did a lot of interviews.
No, he did. He did.
There is footage that
He did.
that shows he is contradicting.
No, literally, I'm so happy you said contradict. And this is not me like shading him,
No,
but
the truth is the truth.
It's the truth. When you watch the Honorable Shyne, I mean, it's a well put together documentary, but for literally for 95% of the documentary, he says, yo, no, I pulled my gun out. I pulled my gun out because I felt like they were going to hurt me. No, so I pulled my gun out. It isn't until the last 5 minutes where now they had to go add to the documentary.
Of course, because I kept my foot on their neck.
But not only your foot, but then Lil Rod came and said, well, let me put another foot. Let me put my foot on top of NATANIA's and say what Brother Love has been saying behind closed doors. And so finally, that's when he says, no, this is not exactly what happened. And it's like, oh, but you've been saying this for all this time, for 25 years. So it's like, now we're seeing this another, you know, I want to talk about how did you originally meet him though? Because you said in the club that he touched your finger, that he said your name. In the documentary, he gives his origin story is remarkable. He goes from Belize to New York, and in New York he becomes
a bike messenger with a bike he borrowed from his cousin. That's the newest part of the story. Never heard about the cousin's bike before.
Yeah, but
anyway.
he's a bike hustler, a bike messenger. He's hustling, and it showed how he would go from person to person, and his goal was always to get into the music industry. Hey, we're friends. Do you know such and such who's in the music industry? Do you know anybody from Def Jam? Do you know anybody?
Sounds good. Sounds really good.
Tell me how you guys met.
So I remember when he used to be outside the shop. Manny had a beauty salon, barbershop. He had 2, and he was a young cat from the neighborhood. It was going around that this cat sounds like Biggie. He had a heavy baritone voice. So, yeah. I mean, he wasn't my age, but we were aware of who he was. So when I was in the studio on my session, because like a lot of people don't know, I'm a female vocalist.
Wait a minute. So you sing?
Yes.
Wait, so let's rewind that.
Yes.
So you sing. Were you signed?
I was actively pursuing a record deal, and at the time I was in talks with MBK Records. That's who
MBK.
Yes.
That's Alicia Keys.
Yes.
Her.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, such and such. Oh my gosh, Jason died recently. Rest his soul.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was part of the MBK family as well too.
Gosh.
Yeah, but you were in some serious hands.
Listen,
you were in some. Anybody who knows MBK knows. Yeah.
When their office was in Burt Padell's office, I used to stand in the hallway and read all the plaques as high up as I can go. But this narrative has ensued that maybe somehow I was some little scallywag looking for a payoff. I am a female vocalist. My grandmother was a singer. I inherited the gift naturally, and all of my children can sing.
Wow.
My family is a musical family. My uncle has had a lot of recordings for Carnival and all that. We are a musical family. But the essence of who I am has been people had a total lack of care and concern with who I am and my story. I grew up in the arts. My entire life was the arts. I auditioned for what people know as Performing Arts High School, the high school from fame. Fiorello LaGuardia.
Really?
I'm a formerly trained dancer. I did jazz, ballet, kabuki theater, tap, all kinds of stuff. I am a multifaceted, amazing, brilliant wordsmith of a woman who owned 2 beauty salons. I have a lot to say. I used to have a talk radio show in Atlanta called Having My Say. Abruptly, I stopped. Everybody was like, why did you stop? Why did you stop? Only because this flipper is hard to pluck out. I would pluck it out and show you. A few years ago, I started having pain in my face, and we couldn't figure out what. And it was intense. One day, it just got so incredibly intense. I didn't want anybody to breathe, turn off the lights. I had a black towel on my head. Don't talk, don't do anything. I was bawling. My son came home and was like, Ma, no, what's going on? I got to take you to the hospital. He takes me to the hospital. We find out, they x-ray my face because I'm like, my face hurts. They said, oh, there's some kind of metal in your face. He's like, I told the nurse my mother has a GSW, a gunshot wound.
Right.
That's a bullet fragment. Shyne with this, the bullets weren't extracted. What?
I'm so happy you touched on that too.
I need him to go and kick rocks. I have a medical thing that I carried in my wallet for so long, a report done by Dr. Roger Mosesin that measured all the punctite fragments of the bullet, and with the exception of the piece of bullet that was extracted that the surgeon took out because it went down my throat and was aspirating to go to my lungs, and he had to extract that. The remaining 9 bullet fragments are in my face. This whole notion that, they didn't take any fragments out is nonsense. This report chronicles every measurement of every bullet fragment, and with the bullet that was extracted, it adds up to a 9mm bullet. But that's the thing. You have to care about a survivor to know these things.
Right. Because why would he say that?
Because he is trying to eliminate any possibility. This whole press junket, this whole documentary, and these are my personal feelings, my opinion, as protected by my inalienable right to free speech under the United States Constitution, the governing doctrine for the country I was born in. This press junket is his ascension to the prime minister. You know, in my opinion, he want that good job well done, son. You want to follow in your daddy's footsteps. So you have to create this narrative of why you're a good guy.
You know what's so funny? You haven't watched the documentary, but literally that's what it is.
I know that's what it is.
It finishes off with, I mean,
Of course.
they talk about his ascension in politics and beliefs, and he seems to be doing very well. He leads the party that he's a part of. But literally that is his goal, is to say, hey, this was a moment in time of my life. This is what happened. I'm closing that chapter. I want to be Belize Barack Obama. Like, that is
He's
what
not closing the chapter, because if you name your docuseries or your documentary or your little movie, your propaganda film, honorable, in lieu of the fact that you were honorable for not snitching, even though your ascension is to the prime minister, which is it? Are you still holding fast to your foregone behaviors of the no snitching clause, the Pookie Man? I mean, which is it? You cannot have it both ways.
Yeah.
You can have duality, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say, trust me, I was a young boy. If you listen to his past interviews, I was an 18-year-old boy, I was a 21-year-old man, I was a 19-year-old boy. Well, like, come on. I know I have a unique thing in my brain that hears, whenever I used to be, it annoys me. Like,
yeah,
it
no,
just pisses me off.
I understand.
I was a QA
understand.
person. In quality assurance, you are always looking out for any anomaly. You are making sure that everything is according to policy, whether it's city, state, local, or job policy guidelines, operational policies, whatever. We have to oversee. We're looking for error and mistakes. My brain is naturally wired for that. I used to be a quality assurance coordinator for SCIP of New York, a case management facility that handled medically fragile children and developmentally disabled children. When I would look at the paper, the mistakes would rise off the paper and highlight in yellow. I didn't even have to do major things. Like, they would lift off the page. I could skim and see the mistakes. I listened to too many of these interviews. His narrative changes. 3 years ago, he was saying 26 years ago. Like, you don't remember? So then how are you so negligent with the memory, but you so on point with the facts? How? How does that work? I know my anniversary date. I have a tattoo to commemorate the day I got shot, because I was in so much emotional and physical pain. My invisible scars have caused people to lack empathy for me. I have PTSD, swelling of the brain. My brain was swelling last night. My glasses couldn't fit on my face. Whenever they start to feel tight, I know my brain is swelling. I have PTSD, swelling of the brain, seizure disorder. I have social anxiety disorder. I have a traumatic brain injury. I have a laundry list of things, not the least of which is my leg was trampled. So I tore my medial meniscus. I still have pain from that. I have a laundry list of problems. I lost this tooth because the metal that was in my face was the bullet fragment on this side that shifted and was on top of the nerve in my tooth. They had to give me emergency surgery and give me a pulpectomy and take all the nerve out. So then the tooth frame was in there with no nerve, and then the tooth broke. I had a missing tooth. How am I sitting on camera doing a talk show? My mouth was so sensitive, I couldn't even get anything in there for a while. Like, these are the things that continue to plague my life. And I've had people in the comments like, he mean to shoot you, get over it. Excuse
It doesn't matter.
me?
First of all, the impact is the impact. The result is the result. I don't care what you meant to do. You go into a club with two guns.
You have to understand that something is going to happen.
Right, exactly.
You walked in with intent, whether
Exactly.
you intended or not. By virtue of the fact that you had it there, the intent existed.
That's it. It doesn't matter. The impact is what matters. But take me back to, so you're in the studio session.
Manny calls me and says, hey, Ev, where you at? What you doing? I said, I'm in the studio. He was like, a word? Yo, I got money with me. Let me come through. I said, all right, come on. He comes in. He starts rapping. We talking. Everybody's laughing. We chilling. He starts rapping. He laid down some Sweet 16 about Cohiba. I had to be like, what Cohiba? Eventually, I found out it was Cuban cigars.
Okay, because I damn sure didn't know what Cohiba was.
Clue.
Child, sorry.
And he laid it down. He did his thing. I was proud of him.
That's
even
how
at
you all
another
met.
even at another studio thing, because it was not just once, it was a couple of times. And one of the times, so the guys that he ran with, Imani Haley, he was Keisha Cole's manager at one point,
Yeah, I was
Future,
gonna say,
all of them. He used to own beauty salons and barbershop in Brooklyn. That's my peoples from way back in the day.
Everybody knows Manny.
Exactly. So that was my peoples. Manny could have, we would go to concerts or anywhere, and there was always this, you know how beauty salons in New York are? There's always a bunch of women that hang out and the known people to the thing. Everybody would roll because it was always a good time with Manny. But people used to be like, how come Eb always get to go with Manny? Because I wasn't the chick nobody was beating it down. I didn't have my hand out. I didn't need nothing from them.
You were strictly about your business.
I left Manny's shop and opened my own beauty salon.
You was about your coin.
About my coin. Every grown man or crew of guys has a homegirl that's just their homegirl. That was me. And so I wasn't out trying to get nothing. Let me hold $1. If we had to go somewhere, I could pay my way. Shyne, Manny and them went out to eat one day. We were in the studio. Shyne was like, oh no, I'm gonna stay here and practice. And I'm an empath. I knew instantly.
You knew he was hungry.
He didn't have no money, and he didn't want to have to look at a grown man, these large dudes, and say, can somebody pay for my food? I'm sure they would have, but his own dignity didn't want to have to do that. And I wanted to spare him from that. So I said, oh, y'all go ahead. He ain't gonna beat me in my own session. I'm gonna stay here and we're gonna go toe to toe. And whoever wins, we're gonna go another 3 rounds. Whoever wins gotta pay for the next one food. And so I let him win to preserve his dignity. And now, 25 years later, I am the victim.
Wow.
Ain't that a shame?
Yeah.
Like, when as a culture do we have a moral plateau? When do we just say, you know what?
This is not right.
It's not right. And my apologies. Because here's the thing, 25 years, number one question, did they ever apologize? When people ask me that, I'm always like, what?
Well, he said he sent apology on the podcast, but yeah, like, I mean, would you like for him to reach out to you to say, hey?
That podcast was recorded while he was in jail before we went to trial.
Oh.
Somebody please go in the Wayback Machine and find
that changes. Yeah.
Somebody go in the Wayback Machine and find that episode of Combat Jack, because from all accounts, it looks like they've stripped it from the internet. I have it because I was filming my docuseries pre-pandemic, and we extracted that. The reason he said that was because one of the guys they were laughing and talking on the podcast, and somebody, to my best memory, somebody pressed the rapid gunfire button. And he said, no, because NATANIA REUBEN was my friend. Like, don't do that.
So how does he go from speaking so endearingly about you to the victim and not saying your name?
That's a fantastic question. I'd like to know as well. Here's my thing. Had a better story for your honorable. Listen, like I said, we all have duality.
Yeah.
You could be a 304 with a heart of gold. I would be more impressed if your honorable story came and told a legacy of you being redemptive to victims of gun violence. There was a time where I said, because here's the deal: when he first got deported, I was watching him. Social media, he would make posts. Every now and then I would check, and then I started seeing, he's in Mesopotamia. He kept putting that down and going and giving to the needy and doing things, and I was proud of him because, like I said, he was my friend. So I was very proud of him. I was watching his trajectory. I said, wow, look at the redemptive measure of, it's unfortunate what occurred, and sometimes God will sit you down so you can find yourself. As eloquently illustrated by Malik El-Shabazz, Malcolm X. Malik El-Haj El-Shabazz. He was dirty red. He had to go and sit in jail, find himself, and he became one of the most preeminent leaders of our culture and time.
Of all time.
All time. So the sit down is not the end. Sometimes it's the beginning of your paradigm shift.
Right.
Had you emerged from jail and said, I'm going to do some programs with the survivors of gun violence, I would have said, he's a very honorable man.
Yeah.
Perhaps if Puffy did that.
Or at least, well, child,
Listen,
I think it's just, no. No, Brother Love need to stay in prison and
I won't even disrespect Love like that.
Well, okay, well, Sir Diddy need to stay his ass locked
And here's
up,
the thing.
forever, forever and a day.
I
Forever and a
can't
day.
call him anything but Puffy because he was puffy when he shot me. I see the clear dichotomy between, it's not just changing his name. He's changing his names every time he has a scandal.
Yes, so true.
Every time there's a
So
scandal,
he wants to
his name
rebirth
changes.
himself.
Yes, he rebrands and it pushes all the old information
Right. 'Cause
further
I'm not
back
that. I'm
in
not
the
that person.
internet.
I'm not Puffy anymore.
And then it pushes it far back on page 22 of the internet so you can't find it. Yeah, that's what that is.
Oh my God, that's
is a
so
rebranding.
true. It's an iOS thing. I
Yeah.
think that's yeah.
It's a rebranding.
Yes.
It's not
So
fair.
true.
I'm not going to let
and
you
it's a
be-
way to erase what has happened to
They're
victims.
history
and-
revisionists.
yeah.
I'm not going to allow it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow it. If you're truly honorable, pay homage to what you did.
and
Apologize to the victims because you walked into a club, and whether you shot me or Julius, because I stand on Puffy shot me, I watched him, but I
Yeah.
also watched you shoot Julius. I watched you. I watched both of y'all. From day one, my very first explanation, that muzzle flash was pow, pow. One was slightly higher, one was slightly lower. Shyne's was higher and further away from me. The lower one was Puffy's, and that's why it hit to my face. You want to know the thing about the boots? The thing about the boots is,
yeah.
when
How
I
did the
got
boot
shot,
save you?
so when they fired the shots and everybody started running here and there, I screamed out, God, please don't take me. I have children to raise. I'm not finished your work. Let me do your work. Instantly. When I screamed that out, I looked over and I saw this guy laying on the floor motionless, right under the lip of the bar. I thought he was deceased. He was so motionless. And so I stopped and I said a prayer. I was still in my high holy roller. I said a prayer for him. I didn't want him to meet God without having salvation. I didn't know. I'd seen him before, but I didn't realize that's who it was. I just know, I don't know if this man knows God. I don't want him to go before God without having salvation.
You said that in the midst of
I
you
stood
being
there
shot?
and prayed for him. Father God, I stand in the gap for him and ask for his salvation before he meets you. I pray for his family because I didn't think I would survive. Instantly when I got shot.
Wow.
If you've ever watched Star Trek, when they say beam me up, Scotty, and they pixelate and they start to disintegrate and separate, that is exactly what my body felt like instantly.
Oh, wow. You
I had
felt
never
that. You
felt
felt
it
like you were
before.
coming apart.
I felt myself coming apart. Everybody ran out of the door. It was a cold December morning. And when that cold rush of air came in, it came to me and passed through me. I said, I'm dying. I promise you.
Oh my gosh.
I never felt totally congealed and whole again. For years, my extremities felt like I was a torso, and then there was these arms and legs. I didn't feel whole again. I didn't feel symbiosis between my extremities and my torso and my core body. I literally thought I was dying because I had no frame of reference by which to associate, okay, this feeling means this. So I said, this must be death. And I was like, man. But I stopped and prayed for him. Then other people started running and I got trampled. That's how I ended up tearing my medial meniscus. And so people fell on top of me. Everybody was going to and fro because it was just, people were just mercilessly trying to get somewhere.
out,
I understand. They don't know what's going on. They want to get safe.
Yeah.
I'm tapping on the floor for my friends. I'm like, Kelly, Stacy, y'all okay? Y'all okay? And then I'm reaching through the crowd sight unseen and I feel her hand. And she's like, yeah, we okay? We all right here? We okay? And I said, I'm not okay. She said, yes, you are. I said, I got shot.
Oh no.
I got shot in the face. And she was like, what? And she pushed a girl that was on top of me. It was like two girls, but one was primarily on top of me. She pushed her off of me. And I can remember the girl grabbing her hair and looking back with a scowl, and it was nothing but blood. Like I was just spewing blood into her hair. It was so absorbent, like a sponge. And I was just thinking the amount, when she jumped up, the amount of blood everywhere. I was like, oh my God. I knew I wasn't going to make it because there was blood everywhere.
Right.
And so while everybody, and honestly, I don't know where my friends went. They disappeared. I promise you. You want to know who rescued me? There were these two sisters. Rest in peace to Keisha and Red.
They're both gone.
They're both gone.
Oh,
That's
wow.
what I found out recently. I saw a picture. I have a girlfriend of mine, Missy Lou. I haven't seen her in a while. Shout out to you, Missy. and Missy put a picture up on the internet that said, it was a picture of Missy Lou, it was Little Kim, Red, and another girl named Sada. And she said, rest in peace, Red. And I was devastated. I cried. This is since the case has come out. I cried my eyes out. And then when I asked a few people, I heard that Keisha maybe have passed away as well. They were the only two people that came to me. Everybody else ran away. And they had the wherewithal to know not to grab me. They said, Eb, come to me. Come here. Come here. Keisha dived over the bar and grabbed a whole bunch of paper towels and brought it to me. And Red was like, come here, Eb. Just come to me. Because they didn't want to put me in shock. Like, I have. So, I don't know if they had kids, but if Keisha or Red was your mother,
wow,
you are of a blessed bloodline.
Wow.
When I tell you the courage and the selflessness, bar none, I have never forgotten them. Never. I'm eternally grateful. Everybody ran away from me and they ran to me. I'm eternally grateful. God bless y'all. Please know that. I want you to know that. This is not just about me. If you listen to my story, it is about a series of events that all took place and crashed into a perfect storm on December 27, 1999. It's about salvation. It's about obedience. It's about friendship. It's about overcoming. It's about redemption. And it's about some lies that I am not letting stand. This is bigger than me. People are missing out. You want a story, Hulu? This would have been your, oh boy, record breaking. But you don't care about victims of gun violence unless they fit into a certain pre-described criteria. There's a hierarchy of empathy and sympathy and respect in this world. And I don't fit into the spectrum clearly, or I'm so low on the spectrum. It's unfortunate.
I will say this. I think with networks, sometimes it's a little tricky because Hulu's the distributor. It's really the production company.
The deal.
But the production company should have definitely.
Why are they not concerned with survivors?
Yeah.
Why is that not a story?
Yeah, that's
Gun
true.
violence is a scourge.
Yeah.
We have a group called March for Our Lives, which was created by young children from the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School that survived the shooting. They had the wherewithal to create a nonprofit organization to help the survivors of gun violence. And it is a youth-run organization. Why is this not a worthwhile story? Look at all the depths to this story. This is a filmmaker's dream.
Yeah.
But you lack integrity too. So you care about bang, bang. Everybody likes a cowboy story, right? It's just disgusting. What is the message you've sent to society? What are you sending to the young people coming up? What are you sending to the children? Let me tell you something. I will always shout out the incomparable prophet Cat Williams, who proclaimed at the beginning of the year, this is the reckoning 2024.
He did.
Okay?
Yeah.
The reckoning. You are either on God's side or the other side.
Yeah.
It's a little light on this God's side of the room. It's a little empty. It's very spacey. Perhaps some of you should come over. Stay a while. It's nice over here. It's just a shame. When are we going to increase our moral plateau?
I do think victim, which is why, and you're a survivor. You're a survivor. You're not just a victim of this, but you're a survivor. You're still surviving. But I do think even when you talked about Julius, I'm like, I don't know if he's still with us.
I talk to him.
You do?
I talk to Julius regularly.
Why doesn't...
Nobody cares. That is a black man who was living his life, ended up getting shot by one of the rising stars of the time, and had to continue to live his life. He is a father. He is a husband. He is a respectable man. He is gainfully employed, surviving and overcoming, and no one cares. Robert Thompson, I have no idea where he is. I've looked him up. I can't find anything. But no one cares. Why is that? Why do we not? Why does everybody else get to put on to commemorate their traumatic experiences? Never forget. Lots of cultures, lots of people use that.
That's true.
9/11, never forget.
That's true.
Every other society, remember a day of honoring, in memoriam, except us. Get over yourself.
Especially when it's a black woman. Especially when it's a black woman.
Even some of my people, I hear them say, well, God, I hear that story 3 times. How much time you going to tell me that? You ain't happy you're alive? Let it go now.
No. Ain't no letting it go.
How
Ain't
do
no
you
letting
let
it go. Especially when you see, because even Shyne said this in his documentary, how he felt for years and years watching Puffy thrive. And it's like, you have to think about it as a victim when you're seeing someone who has violated you so badly go on and thrive. And it's like, you're supposed to just be honorable about it. Like, you know, it's like, it's a very hard thing to watch and deal with. And I think that, like you said, people need to have more empathy. And also what kills me too is the everyday person has had to deal with some level of this. So I don't get when they tell other people, just get over it. No, like, we all have things in life that it's just very, very hard to get over because someone or something, an entity, did something to you that violated you. And so
the same bunch of people that tell me to get over it put on that airbrush sweatshirt of Pookie and Man every year on Facebook.
Oh my
and
gosh,
Instagram.
it's so
I
true.
see y'all.
It's so true.
Like, come on. I see y'all.
It's so true.
But they tell me to get over it.
Yeah.
How? Like, what is this one-sided coin that we're operating from?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a 54-year-old woman, and let me tell you something. Tell me you don't know that there's a God without telling me you don't know there's a God. I got shot in my face with a 9mm hollow point bullet, known on the street as a cop killer. When it hit my face, it broke my nose bone. It broke my cheekbone. I have the biggest piece right here on my right at my optic nerve. I have fragments here. One fragment went through, scarred my cerebral cortex. That's what gave me a traumatic brain injury and a seizure disorder. Jeez. And that other part was right here, which I had to give a tooth up for.
And look at you now.
Look at me. My scars are invisible.
Yeah.
But that is why I have to give voice to them so you know what I endured.
Yeah.
God saw fit. It was not lost on me. I cried one time and I was just like, why do I have to go through this? Why are people so insensitive to me? And God said, I kept you because I didn't want anybody distracted by a disfigurement. The same way they tried to write off Shamar, and I always reference Shamar, here's why. People call him handicapped. Shamar has scoliosis. That is exactly what I had. Why I didn't end up having to go to Performing Arts High School. I self-diagnosed myself with scoliosis. That could have been me. But because my mother was a powerhouse and had the fortitude and the ability to provide a healthy life insurance and great medical care, I benefited from having surgery on my spine. I have a metal rod in my spine. It's called a Zilke instrumentation, an anterior fusion in my spine. I could have been Shamar.
Yeah. Or you could have not been with us.
Listen.
And the way God preserved you.
Jessie, when I was confronted, there were a lot of people who didn't want me to have my spine surgery. And here's why. My spine specialist, Dr. Michael Neuwirth, said to me, you have a 33% chance of coming out of this perfectly fine and going on to live a great life. You have a 33% chance of being handicapped and a 30% chance of dying. People said, she's a child. She can't make that decision. I said, this is my body.
Yeah.
I never felt like a child. I thought I was a grown when I was a kid. I used to get in trouble because my line to my mother always like, I'm grown. She'd be like, get out my face.
Right.
I just always felt like an adult in a little body, but I felt mature of the mind. And so I sincerely believe now that I've grown and I've grown in my spiritual walk and I've gotten older. I truly believe that the spirit that lives in me is a very old, wise spirit. Like we said, that of Harriet Tubman, that of Denmark Vesey, that of Nat Turner. It is a strong, resilient spirit that won't quit.
Yeah.
This spirit that inhabits this flesh house that I live in right now has been alive for so long and has walked through centuries and stuff. And I've turned over civilizations many times. Like, I truly feel like you could take it all the way back to biblical. Call me David, baby, because I got my sling and my stone and a pocket full of rocks. I'm coming for all of y'all.
Amen.
I'm not afraid, and I've never been afraid. My family used to be like, stop talking. What are you doing?
I get
Just
that all the
stop."
time too.
Because
I get that all the time.
they feel
People
like
think, I don't know.
they're going to get you.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'll just go out swinging.
Maybe. And here's the thing. They're not going to get me. You're going to try to
You're
come
going to
for
get
God.
God. You going to get God.
Hey.
If you think you're going to get me, baby, you going to get God.
Honey, the word says...
And you know what? That has been my life. Every time
You can relate.
somebody thought they was going to get me, they got God.
That's right.
And I really feel that is going to be your testimony.
The word says, touch not my anointed and do my prophet no harm. I have always known, from back when I was 5 years old, and Gene Smith told my grandmother, watch this one, she's special. And my grandmother said, she has the gift.
So
I've
what is
known
the
it.
gift?
The
that you
gift
have?
is, I am God's chosen. I am able to, I've lived a life. Now I bring receipts and correct change, and I will collect and gather you if you step out of line, but I'm not a grudge holder. I'm not a grudge holder. I would sit down and talk to Shyne.
You would.
Oh,
If he reached out and said, I would like
if he
for
reached
us to-"
out, somebody make it happen. You
I
want
would
a
love
movie?
to.
Put
I
that-
would love that.
Come on, production company, put that together. I would sit.
Well,
and
let me
talk to him.
call my man, Mr. Easter. He has
I
a
will sit down and talk
he's a
to him.
producer, yeah.
Because I believe there is redemption. But if you want true redemption, if you truly want to look honorable, make amends. Make amends. Do it the right way. Not this fancy word salad that your high-priced strategists and publicists have crafted for you. No. It's like the movie, Matt Damon, where he would put on the hat and go through doors. Well,
Oh, Lord.
the Adjustment Bureau. Remember what he said when he finally conceded when he didn't win the election? He said, you see this tie? A strategist picked this out for me. You see these shoes? We paid $1,500 for them to tell us the proper amount of scuffing so I could look like a normal guy, but not too normal that I can't lead. Stop letting your publicist pigeonhole you into a corner. Do the right thing. That is when you will truly have redemption and be honorable. Your constituents want it because, baby, I got some tea off your IG page.
Ooh.
Now, I'm going to spare you on this. But in my house, on the Dopest Nerd YouTube channel, gathering and collecting souls from 6 to 60.
Period. In Jesus' name.
right.
I would love to see that happen. I think that it would be such a beautiful thing for you to, at the very least, get your apology. And I know it's like, that's not going to make or break you, but still, I feel
think
that
it will make a difference, though.
Yeah, it would make a difference, but also too, I feel like every society, the world needs to see like Black women, dark-skinned Black women, especially like who fall victims to these things, these types of situations, be given apologies and be given their reparations and given their moment, you know, to say, hey, I did this. I apologize. I'm so sorry for, you know, not acknowledging your pain and what you endured. In the documentary, you know, they show several times where Puffy ignores Shyne. You know, when he came out of the courtroom and he was exonerated, but you have Shyne who gets convicted, and he does his first press conference. He's there with his mother in her blonde wig and her blue contacts, and they're at the podium and they're saying, "Hey, well, congratulations. What about Shyne?" And he's like, "Thank you very much." And
that press conference that you talk about, there's a lot of footage. You will see him walk out and he has this little condescending smirk on his face. I'm a psych major. That is called duping delight. Google it. Duping delight is when you know you've gotten over on somebody. You've pulled a fast one. You've gotten away with something that you are absolutely 100% culpable for. You know, I was on News Nation and Brian Enton interviewed me on the second go round. And he's like, oh, he said he was 100% certain. That's why he wouldn't take a plea deal. That is a lie. Look at the footage, the archival footage from back then. He lost about 40 pounds during that trial. Okay? I was nice in my full self. He lost a lot of weight, but you know what that weight loss was from? Guilt and fear.
of course,
Okay?
you know what? During the documentary, Oh my gosh, what is a security guard that won't be quiet?
I got a name for him. 2 truths and 7 lies.
Baby, the way he's been singing like a canary though.
To absolve himself of guilt. He was culpable in some of those things.
Oh, of course.
All that singing?
Of course.
Baby.
Of course. But I can't remember.
Gene Deal.
Gene Deal.
AKA 2 truths and 7 lies.
Oh my gosh. Gene Deal does not know how to be quiet. But he said that the day of the sentencing, that Diddy had him take him to the park, and that a guy came out of nowhere, started breathing, I don't know, material on him, praying on him, put him in a cage, gave him a dove, and that Puffy threw the dove in the air, and the dove
dropped to the floor and died.
Immediately.
I remember that. I remember hearing something like that back in the days.
Really?
Yes.
He said it. He said it in the
Listen
documentary.
Listen to me. When I tell you there is nefarious evil at its worst, and the only way evil can be conquered is through somebody who is truly a child of God. I was not called to this task for nothing. Many are called, chosen are few. I am the chosen. I didn't ask for it. This gift is heavy. This gift of a prophetic gift and empathic gift is heavy. If I could take it off and leave it on my dresser and go out sometimes, I would gladly do it. It walks me into people's lives in a way I don't necessarily always want to be. I can walk in the room and the vibrational frequency in the room, I know everybody's business, and I don't want to. I want people to have their anonymity. I had people in my life that were friends, acquaintances, people I dated that was like, yo, I don't know what it is about you, but I feel like you be looking into my soul. Like, I can't even rock with you right there. Like, I feel like I need my privacy because you can't lie to me. When people have lied to me, you didn't lie to me. I was so awestruck by the fact that you didn't have enough respect for me to tell the truth.
Yeah.
I let you live, but you
I
didn't lie
spared
to
you.
me. Oh, trust and believe I knew. I didn't ask for this gift. And if you look, people always say, oh, who she thinks she is? You think you're special? Go read the book. If you read the Bible, everybody who had a prophetic gift had a tough, disastrous life.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Every single prophet in the book.
It's true.
Because the only way for you to know the glory and the goodness and the majesty of God is that you watch someone overcome the pitfalls of life and live to tell the tale and has no compulsion from telling the tale. It's the only way you know. How will you know of God's goodness if I don't come tell you? People are spiritual hypocrites. They want to use God in a transactional way. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Give me a 777.
Yeah. Oh my God. So true.
People treat God like an ATM. How dare you?
They treat God like he's a pimp sometimes. Too. It's
Transactional.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Gimme.
Yeah.
Oh, later.
Right.
That is how.
Right.
I don't know
that.
how you have the courage.
Yeah. You ate that.
I don't have the courage. I always tell people try to come at me. I'll be like, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh, who you think you are? I say, you're not going to make it down the block. I already know how God does people about me. I have watched God whop. I tell you.
Not Kendrick.
Oh, yes, baby. I've watched
Not
God
K-Dot.
till they, listen, I had somebody try to aggress upon me, try to make beef, got into something with me. I said, you ain't going to make it to the corner. I said, see you after you crash into the bus. You're a witch.
No.
I saw them a month later with a cast on their leg. They look at me and turn away. And trust me, I ain't just telling you this. I have family and friends. There are countless stories out there of people who tried to harm me. And I just tell them for themselves. I'm trying to save them. I'm not a grudge holder. Who else can walk through the world after having been shot in the face with a 9mm bullet and not be a grudge holder? I've never been.
Do you think that what's happening with Puffy now is a result of?
It's that good retribution. Is that good? God is a God of wrath. And he said, vengeance is mine. See, God said anger, but sin not. But you ain't got to do nothing back. I'm going to get my lick back. In a time where you should be in your heyday.
Yeah.
Having your swan song and walking into retirement and enjoying the spoils of your success and your children.
Yep.
You're Honda to jail where you belong.
Honda to jail.
You belong there. Had anybody listened to me 25 years ago, do you realize that all of these people
oh my gosh,
would not exist?
Say that again, though.
If anybody listened to me 25 years ago, all of these people that have had to suffer would not have had to suffer.
At the hands of Brother Puffy, Brother Love, Diddy, Shyne, Combs.
I can't do the brother or the love. I tell people all the time, the age-old question is, what is love? The reason people can't seem to quantify it properly because they haven't gone into deep study. See, there are 9 different types of love, around 9. There's eros love, that's intimate partner love. There is agape love, a universal love for all mankind. There's parent-child. There's a lot of different loves. But so many people are unskilled in their attempt to explain something that you classify. And that's why we toxic. Yeah, because you have made so many soul ties in your life by being a 304 with a heart of gold that you have given all your soul away. And when you finally meet your eros love, there's nothing to keep you connected because you don't have any soul left.
Yeah.
You have made soul ties so far. You have to go and clean your soul and replenish yourself, wash your soul through. But that's what comes with spiritual maturity. And so many people lack it. Yeah. So when people are like, she's so holier than thou. No, I've made a point of paying attention to God because he ain't never left me out.
Amen.
He ain't never.
He's never left your side.
Never left my side. There is a scripture that so many people misinterpret in life. So many people. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. They get mad. They say, I turn my back on God because all these things happen. Baby, it's like a Jeopardy question. The answer is in the question, in the statement. The scripture means, while weapons will be formed against you, as long as you walk according to my will and my way and you maintain your faith, I will not let them prosper.
Amen.
But so many people think, ain't nothing gonna happen. God said ain't nothing gonna happen. I don't mess with God. Why? When we were little, the Lord's Prayer said, give us, Lord, our daily bread. But you still out here, Lord, what we gonna eat? How am I feed these kids? He told you since you was 3. You was reciting it since you was 2 and 3.
Yeah.
He gives you your daily bread. For every day you've hustled to try to figure what we gonna eat. Haven't you eaten?
Amen to that.
Haven't you eaten? We have a 100% success rate against everything that has come against us because guess what? We are still here. I don't care if you're sitting in the church house or the big house. I don't care if you're sitting in the jail or under it. You still are successful by virtue of the fact that you woke up on the right side of the dirt. You could be a dusty picture on a shelf. Whatever God does to sit you down, take that time to build yourself. Come back better.
Amen.
Beauty from ashes. See, I walk through the fire and I don't even smell like smoke.
Oh my gosh, you better preach. I'm on my way to that pulpit. Listen, I went to theology school. So when they called you pastor, they was right. They were actually speaking into your life.
Speaking it into my life.
Yeah.
I stopped running from it. And that is my foray. If God so chooses to lead me to the pulpit, I am walking willingly. I am walking. I'm on my YouTube channel saving souls every day. You know how many people email me and write me, Jessie? I am coming to God. Oh my God, I haven't talked to God in 20 years. And watching you, I feel like I have my love back for God. I have my relationship back with God. So many people. I am overcome by how he is using me. I'm his vessel. I'm not out here saying I'm big and bad. I am his child. I am his vessel. They say God watches out for his children and his fools. I have always said, I don't know which one I am, but I thank you for putting me in the midst.
Amen.
He has never left me. In that, when Keisha and Red came and gave me those tissues, and then some people ran into this little door on the side, and she was like, hold the door, hold the door. And this guy with long locks slammed the door shut. She went and banged on the door, open this effing door. And somebody finally opened it. And it opened up and it was bright. It was the corresponding kitchen to the hotel that was above the club. And there were a bunch of, and no disrespect, they just appeared to be Mexican men. I'm not making any aspersions or anything.
No.
And they all had half aprons on. And the kitchen floor was that black and white tile. And there were, it looked like 900 bloody footprints in my blood. I was certain I wasn't going to make it because I was like, how could I lose this much blood and still be alive?
Yeah.
Footprints were every direction. It took somebody on the internet right around the time somebody told me about the comb. They said, girl, you was a sacrifice. The black and white checkerboard, the half aprons, all of that symbolism.
Oh my God.
It never occurred to me. It's just my retelling of the facts. Yes. My bloody footprints on the black and white tile. I mean, when I got into the kitchen, so many people were scurrying around. The only people that were really motionless were the Mexican men. They were the cooks and the chefs in the restaurant. They were just staring at me. And so help me God, there were 5 boxes of carrots stacked kind of askew, not even. There were the cardboard boxes with the little openings so you could see the carrots and the stems hanging out. Outside of the men, those boxes were the only stable thing. And I went and stood and held on to the boxes of carrots.
God.
I told my story. On my YouTube page, people throw carrots in the chat all the time now. Those carrots were so important to me because they held me up when so much movement was going on. I was trying to keep my mind. And there was this area off to my right. I could see this periphery. Through my periphery, a bunch of people were running around looking for a place to hide or get out, and they were going through this doorway. Beyond the kitchen was so light, by contrast, the doorway looked dark. And people were running through the doorway. I watched a bunch of people run through the doorway. And somebody said, come this way, come this way. And so I didn't know where the doorway was leading, but I was holding my tissues and I walked into the doorway. As I got, now I'm a very finicky West Indian woman. I ain't touching no floor.
Okay.
I ain't touching no dirty floor.
Okay, no.
On my channel, when people come to my channel, I say, welcome in, take off your shoes,
Oh,
leave
yeah,
them
yeah,
at the
yeah.
door, grab a pair of fuzzy socks, sit on the couch and get comfortable.
That's it. That's
When
it.
I got to that doorway, after all those people ran through the door, God said, touch the floor. Sight unseen, I bent down after I had just been shot in the face and touched the floor. It was so dark, you literally could not see in front of you. I touched the floor and I felt this metal thing. I didn't know what it was, but God said, put it in your bag. So I just stuck it in my bag. Continued through the door. Everybody was moving around. And this man came from out of nowhere and tapped me on my back. And I turned back and then looked, and I realized the family that owned the club was the Burgos family, or managed the club, or whatever relationship. But they were the Burgos family, and they all looked alike, like brothers or cousins. They all looked alike. So when I turned around and I saw his face, I knew he was one of them. Now, all of these people that had just run through this doorway, how did you know to isolate and tap me in my back? Because clearly you watched me on the video camera. That mysteriously disappeared. I wonder if the videotape of me getting shot is in Puffy's vault that Department of
that the
Homeland
Cassie
Security
tape was in.
That they took all those tapes out. Please look through the things and find my videotape, because I'm certain it's in. He seems like the type of narcissistic psychopath that likes to watch it over and over.
Oh my gosh.
I'm certain if he paid for that Cassie tape, I'm certain
There's
he
no
paid for
telling
that.
what he did to pay
I'm
for that
certain.
tape.
This man came out of nowhere in the dark and tapped me on the shoulder when tons of people were running through this corridor or whatever this passageway was. Then we hear this loud bang, bang, and nobody knew what it was. Because we in the dark and you hear this loud noise, everybody got shook. He ran away and left me. Somebody, one of the innocent netizens said they were coming to finish you off when they realized you were still alive. But that loud, whatever that loud thing was, it scared him off. He left me. But when he left me, there was this little side thing that led to like a smaller VIP type of lounge, a lot of flowy curtains and stuff like that. And so there was a mirror on the wall. And when I got shot, I felt everything rush to this point in my face. Like it felt like all the skin, flesh, everything was tight right here. And so I said, what do I, because everybody that had passed me was going and looking at my face and like scowling away. The only people that didn't do it was Keisha and Red. Everybody else did. And so I saw the mirror and I started walking to the mirror. God said, do not look in that mirror. I couldn't help it. I was like, I gotta see my face. God said, do not look in the mirror. His voice got louder. When I got right to the mirror and was tiptoeing to look up, I hear this voice. There you are. We've been looking for you. I turn around. It's the EMT. Right before I looked in the mirror.
So you didn't even get a chance to look at your face.
And I think God was trying to preserve me so that I did not go into shock. Because all this time, I'd never
you
cried.
would have probably gone into like cardiac arrest or something.
I didn't cry the entire time. I didn't pass out and I didn't cry. He's talking to me. He's like, we've been looking all over for you. He's bringing me out, and there is, like I said, there's a hotel that corresponds with the club. And so there's a separate entranceway for the hotel, like an additional entryway. And there's like the old New York buildings with those marble steps that go down. It was probably about 5 or 6 steps. And there were people wall to wall on both sides of the staircase. Everybody wanted to know who got shot. So when the EMT emerged with me, people was like, Ebony? Oh my God, it's Eb. And everybody was just like, Eb. And every time somebody said my name, I felt my body coming back together again. It was congealing and going forward, coming back to the world. And people would say my name, and I would just look and try to meet their eyes. And then somebody over here would say, Ebony, oh my God. And I would look, and I was coming more and more back to the world. I felt like ever since I got shot, I felt myself pixelating and departing. I was becoming whole again. And not totally whole, but coming back together again. And they got me into the ambulance. And of course, they're asking, who did this to you? Puffy shot me. Now,
From the beginning.
I am the most seriously injured. They took Julius Jones to St. Vincent's Hospital, level 1 trauma center. Anybody gets shot in New York, they take them to St. Vincent's. They passed St. Vincent's and took me to St. Clair's, a local neighborhood hospital in the village where women go and touch up their facelift. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm like, these people want me to die.
Yeah,
It
immediately.
didn't make any sense. It has not made any sense. The documents are there to prove it. My medical records and all of the case files are there to prove it. So I say to the nurse, everybody's just kind of like, blase. I'm shot in the face. I look like a disaster. They are nonchalant with me. Nonchalant. I say to this nurse, Miss, please. She comes over to me. Now, they had all talked to me, this and that, what happened. The EMT, I was brought in on an ambulance. Gunshot wound to the face, da-da-da. They left me on the gurney in the emergency room laying there. As God is my witness, I see a nurse, I call her over. She comes over to me. She said, what happened, Mama? What happened? I said, can you please give me a phone, please? She goes and gets the old school cordless phone. My fingers, as much as my body was alive and willing and my mind was conscious, my fingers were weak. I couldn't dial. I said, can you dial this number for me? The only number I could remember was my sister Chantel, whose house I just left. So she dials the number, she gives me the phone, she walks away. I said, tell. I hear my sister say, whose number is this? She's like, what are you calling me to tell me about the club for? Call me tomorrow. I said, tell. And when she heard me say that, she's like, Nanny, what happened? What happened? And that is when I started crying.
Oh.
Because my family knew where I was.
Yeah.
And so if nobody was going to see me again, they heard me. I got to talk to somebody myself. And so she started screaming, what happened? What happened? And I could hear my brother-in-law Dale in the background going, what happened to Eb? And my sister was so frantic, like she couldn't collect herself. And I said, call Mommy. I got shot in the face. And she was screaming like, no. I was like, please call Mommy. They're going to let me die. And my brother was like, Eb, what happened? I said, I got shot in the face. And I told him everything. The nurse walks over to me because she hears me bawling and screaming and crying. I was like, hurry, please. They're going to let me die. She walks over and I can see the TV in the background. And then she's looking at the TV. She comes to me and she said, oh, Mommy, that's what you was talking about. That's you they talking about. You saw J-Lo?
What does that mean?
What did she have on? Listen to me. I worship and exalt God too much. I would never waste the minutes and the seconds that he gave me to live with nonsense. This woman said, you saw J-Lo? What she had on? As I'm laying on the table, bleeding out.
That's what this lady thought to ask you?
As there's a God in heaven. That's what she said to me. I said, tell, they're going to kill me. Hurry up.
Oh my God.
My mother, shout out to Gloria. Everybody that knows my mother knows the powerhouse that my mother is.
This is ridiculous.
Now you understand why I won't stop talking.
Yeah.
My mother had to come from Jersey. She literally, in the time it took for my sister to tell her, to get herself together, her and my little sister come from Jersey. She was at the hospital. She arranged for this big medevac trauma ambulance to take me from St. Clair's and rush me to St. Vincent's. As they were bringing me in, my mother was in the corridor. She said, "That's my daughter." She came over to me. My little sister was behind my mother's shoulder, looking down at me, crying inconsolably. My sister Danny, inconsolably. My mother, her face was just, I could see the care and concern, but it was stern because my mother's a powerhouse like that. And I saw her and I was just like, "I'm sorry, Mommy. Tell my kids I love them.
Oh my gosh.
Take care of my kids." My mother looked out at me and said, "No, you go in there and you have your surgery and you get better. You come out here, you raise your own kids. I ain't telling them nothing. I'm grandma. I bake cookies. You raise your own kids. You get in there and you come out and you survive."
Oh my God.
I looked at her like, "Yes, Mommy." I was too afraid to not fight.
Oh my God.
I didn't feel a fight. I wasn't letting go. I just didn't feel like I had a choice.
You
I
felt
didn't
yourself
think
slipping.
I had a choice. I was slipping. And I just was like, I had come to terms with whatever was happening. I didn't want it to happen, but I had just.
The woman that asked you that, was she black?
She was down with Jenny from the block. She was Latino. "Mommy, what you saw J-Lo, what she had on?"
Now see,
I promised to God. "Where you at, nurse? You still out here? Come to the front of the room. We need to have a talk with you too."
Immediately.
I was so disgusted with that woman for
Yeah,
such a long
that is
time.
ridiculous.
I was so disgusted.
The most traumatic event, the most traumatic moment of your life, and somebody's asking you,
What J-Lo had on.
what was she wearing? Your face full of blood. What was J-Lo wearing?
This thing is a comedy of errors. This is why I cannot let it go.
Yeah.
I can't let it go.
Yeah.
It plays over in my mind like a movie on a loop. I can't let it go. There was a period of almost 15 to 18 years where I couldn't sleep because I felt like every time I fell asleep, I got shot over and over and over again. There's so many times you can get shot before you don't want to sleep. There's but so many times.
I'm really.
Mental health is very important.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, I've fought like heaven to keep mine.
Mm-hmm.
There were times where it was a slippery slope, okay?
What has it looked like for you to be a survivor of this?
It took a long time for me to get out. And one day when I finally started getting better, my mother said, "Come out with me." My face was still bandaged. She said, "Come on, I'm going to run some errands." We were on Fulton Street in Brooklyn. She went to the Restoration Plaza. All my Brooklyn people know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
I come outside. There's a group of like 5 to 7 people. And the age's range, I would say like 17 to maybe 20 something. They saw me from across the street and recognized me from all of the footage, and the Daily News had done a cover story on me. They cursed me out and called me everything but a child of God. "You be beep, beep, beep. You trying to take down hip hop. You trying to take down a good black man. You trying to destroy hip hop. You scallywags from Fulton Street at the Restoration Plaza, bring your monkey tails to the front of the room. We got to talk to."
Immediately.
How you feel now? How you feel?
Yeah.
Also, while I'm calling the monkeys out, jurors, bring your tail to the front of the room. Because the jurors, if you watch the Proffer podcast, the detectives say the jurors called the district attorney, Matt Bogdanas, crying, saying, "We fell short of our job. There's no reason he should have been not guilty." A black juror came in the jury deliberation room and said, "I'm letting y'all know right now, anybody find Puffy guilty, you a racist. You a racist." All the white people got scared, fell back.
You know why that was?
Of course.
Why?
Because nobody wants to be a racist in good old liberal New York.
Not just that. That's true. But also when I was watching The Honorable Shyne, it reminded me that Johnny Cochran was on Puffy's team.
Listen here. Johnny Cochran is who questioned me on the stand. I testified in the trial. I said unequivocally, Puffy and Shyne both fired their guns. I said it unequivocally. Johnny Cochran questioned me for so long. He looked me in my eye. He stepped back, looked me in my eye, flipped his blazer back, put his hand on his hips, turned around and went and put his hand on Ben Brofman's shoulder and said, "You give it a try."
No way.
Oh, way.
Way. Yes, way.
They could not impeach my testimony. They could not try to drag me. They could not try nothing. I tell you, the spirit that lives in me is Miss Araminta Ross, a.k.a. Harriet Tubman, Denmark Vesey, Nat Turner, and all of the greats in this society. I don't come to play.
Yeah. You didn't come to play, but also, too, I think with the jurors, because when I was watching the documentary, the Shyne's lawyers were saying that even jurors were like, "Oh, Johnny, it's such an honor to be in your presence." It just felt as if jurors were already swayed.
This whole thing has been a celebrity love fest.
Yes.
This whole thing is people who lack integrity, feel so inadequate in their own existence, and feel the need to look for fame adjacency. They want to be adjacent to fame. They want to be adjacent to power. They want, you know what it is.
Yeah.
You got people that say, "Oh yeah, that's my friend. She live in New York.
Yeah.
That's my friend from New York." Whatever their standard is, any way that they can reach for that standard, they have to always equivocate. "Oh, this is my friend. You know, I told you she's from New York." Because being in the South, there was a time where saying you had a friend from New York meant you was somehow special or better.
Yeah.
It was whatever is the thing, the hierarchy that people want to aspire to. However they get one infinitesimal decimal point closer makes them feel better about their existence. It's adjacency. People want to be fame adjacent.
Yeah.
It's the same reason you could go on IG and there's, Pookie and Man who clean the toilets at Macy's, but he got a whole bunch of pictures on his page, him and a celebrity.
Yeah, true. It's the adjacency.
Because they feel like you ain't never, you seen this man once, you ain't never seen him again.
Yeah.
But you feel better filling your page with pictures of you and celebrities that you caught passing through because it makes you feel better about yourself. What is this madness?
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a lady out there who feeds houseless people and hungry people every Thanksgiving out of her own pocket from her beauty salon. I don't see those pictures there.
Yeah.
There's a woman who runs a nonprofit and gives to her community and does things I have done for so many people. And I'm not saying it like, "Oh, look at me."
Right.
I literally, acts of service is my love language. I have given of myself
to others
till, okay? I got in settlement. I didn't sit around like I was, "Oh, your kid got to go to college here. This one got to go." That's what I did.
There are a lot of people who think that you were paid off like some crazy amount. Do you care to touch on that? Because they think think that Puffy paid you off a crazy amount of money.
Well, it was not the crazy amount that I should have gotten for being shot in the face. I got theories about my own ex-attorneys. I feel like they were paid off, if we want to make it 100%
Well, I
clear.
mean, given his track record, that's not
I had to
unbelievable.
deal with one of my former attorneys for the last few years, and we've always enjoyed what I thought was a very amiable conversation and friendship or acquaintancy or whatever, because they were my attorneys for a long time. It took almost 12 years for my case to settle.
It took you 12 years
Yes, because he drags it out.
It took you 12 years to settle your case?
I got shot in 1999. We settled in 2011. He did the same thing to the City College people. He dragged them. He's trying to make you tap out.
Right.
He's stretching time. He's taking a long time. He wants you to be so desperate that you'll take anything.
Did you take anything?
Heck no. But I was pushing for more. So the first settlement hearing, I came up. I was working for the government. I came up, asked for my boss to have the time off, told my boss what it was. She was retiring. She was like, "Absolutely, you can have the time off. I'm so happy for you. Good for you."
Yeah.
The new young lady who was taking her position, that old scallywag, you know who you are.
Come to the front of the room.
Come and get in line with the rest of the scallywags. She says to me, she's so nosy, she wanted to tell this other young lady on the job my business. And so I'm walking out that Friday knowing that I'm flying to New York. She says to me, so, what you doing this weekend? Anything in particular? You going flying anywhere? I said, no, cleaning my kitchen. What you doing? Because you're so busy want to be in my business. But it illustrated that you knew, because you talked to the new girl that was taking over, you knew I had scheduled time off. I'm in the courtroom. My aunt is calling my phone incessantly. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
We finally get a break. I go outside. She's like, your job called. They said you're a no-call, no-show, and they let you go.
What? Do you think Puffy was behind that?
Miss Honey, at this point,
Yeah.
JFK's assassination, the missing Jimmy Hoffa, he's responsible for everything.
You think he was behind all that?
Everything.
Period. I do
I don't
too.
trust him.
I don't think. Yeah, he behind everything. So you're in the courtroom fighting.
I lose my job.
You lose your job.
I go back. We don't settle, and I go back to no job. But let me tell you the goodness of God. Let me tell you the goodness of God. So I told you the district attorney had to move me out of New York. They moved me out of New York. I settle in. We don't, like I said, we don't settle yet. I lost my job. So now I'm in my apartment with no job, got bills to pay, got enough money to pay my rent, but I'm like, I ain't got no job.
Yeah.
Think, girl.
Yeah.
And so I'd had salons in New York. One day I was in New York, even before we were moved to out of state, I went downtown Skimmerhorn Street, like Hoyt Skimmerhorn, you know where all those fabric stores are.
Yeah.
And then they have like the remnants out front. And there was this massive piece of black vinyl remnant, and they only wanted $20 for it. Now, I think I might have had $60 left. Why am I buying a piece of black remnant that I have nothing particular to do for it? But God said, buy this remnant. It was a massive roll of vinyl. God said, purchase this. I had no justifiable reason. I got home, my son was like, what's this? I was like, God told me to buy it. Listen, when God orders your steps, you look crazy to people that don't know God as much as you do. They was like, what'd you buy this for? I was like, God told me to buy it. I thought you said you only had $60 left. How much this cost? $20. What? You stupid. When that day came upon me and I realized that I had lost my job and we weren't going to settle, I looked online and there was 2 old beauty salon chairs for sale. One was $20, one was $25, but the seats were all torn up. A light bulb went off. Ding, open a new shop. This is what you know how to do. There was a mini mall nearby where I was that had an existing shop that was closed down. I searched the internet and found every beat up chair, took my fabric, and this is how I ended up starting a reupholstery business afterwards. Took my fabric. I didn't know how to break down no shop chair. I deconstructed that shop chair, recovered them chairs, and had mismatched chairs, but they was all black vinyl, brand new, impeccably. And I went to the man. Let me tell you the goodness of God. I went to the man. I said, listen, now I got the money to pay you the rent. However, there are some things I need to get in order to start up the business. I've had beauty salons in New York, and I'm very apt when it comes to this. However, if I give you this money for the rent, I won't have the money to do what I need to do. Tell you what, give me the key, let me start the business, and I will pay you off in no time. I said, give me 3 months, I will pay you off all of the security and everything for the shop. He looked at me and said, Miss, is you crazy? You come here to rent my store, you don't have no money to give me? I said, God told me to say it to you. You are a reasonable man. The business has been sitting here empty. Let me bring life and revitalization back to your mini mall. Give me the key. I looked at him. He looked at me. You ever seen that video of, I think it was Making the Band with the guy with the little blonde hair was staring at Puffy like, I was looking at the man. I said, give me the key. I'm going to revitalize this mini mall. You got like 1 or 2 businesses, one business and a video man selling videos in the hallway. Let me bring life back to it. He looked at me and said, this is highly irregular, but I believe in you. That man handed over that key. I ain't give him a dollar. I got them chairs. I was hustling around, recovering chairs. I was open for business in no time.
Wow.
When I tell you, I got it. And let me go a step further. The money I needed to get all the stuff for the shop, I didn't pay my rent at home or my light bill. My light was cut off, so I stayed in the shop all day doing everybody that walk by, hey, welcome to Nirvana Salon.
You were
and Spa.
getting it out the mud.
Listen, out the mud.
Yeah.
My lights were cut off.
Yeah.
I would go work all day and then tell my kids, let's go to a hotel.
Wow.
So we could have lights and be in the thing. A few days we stayed in that dark apartment. Wow. And the lady that lived next door, who I was always pleasant, like, hey, how you doing, whatever. She was like, she looked at me and she just walked. She came out her door, she looked at me. She ain't say a word. Mm-hmm. She came back out and came, you know those big orange utility light extension cords for outside? Mm-hmm. She just came back out and handed it to me and walked back in her door and closed her door.
Oh.
And I pulled it in there and we plugged in the lamp. And
oh my God.
Shout out to my middle child. Like, my oldest son was at college, but my MC, he wrote it out with me and my daughter.
So at what point did you revisit another settlement?
Well, it took a little while. So I was grinding in the shop, and then I was out somewhere giving out flyers for the shop to get business, and I passed by this apartment complex to go and it said, apartment rent, we doing a special abatement, like only pay $99 to move in. Oh, I went in right in that office and gave them $99, and we moved out of that apartment in the dark because I didn't pay the rent and I didn't have lights. I moved out of that apartment and moved into the new apartment, and I was bubbling after that. And then probably we had been there about a month, and then the next settlement came, and I didn't trust them. I said, nah, I got a business. I'm not coming up again. So my mother and my middle child went to the settlement hearing.
Wow.
I wasn't going because I said, you won't get me twice. Nice try, Diddy.
Yeah.
Won't get me twice.
Yeah.
And so I stayed, and they went to the settlement hearing. And ironically, there became a time where, you know how you're waiting for a lawsuit, and it was 12 years, I told you. At one time, something went on. I was very sick. I started developing seizures because of the bullet that scarred my brain, and I couldn't work. I used to work for the Department of Transportation. I couldn't work. And so I was kind of home. I had mortgage to pay, this, that, my bills were piling up, and there was one of those, call 877, get cash now kind of commercial. And I said, let me call.
J.G. Wentworth?
One of them people.
J.G. Wentworth got you your Diddy settlement?
No, those little, you could get money if you have an accident coming up.
Yeah.
So I got one of those, and people, if you have an accident settlement coming up, be very careful. Those things compound daily. Okay? I might have got a little $12,000, baby. At the date of settlement, when they went to the settlement table, that thing was like $190,000.
Oh, hold on. Call J.G. Wentworth.
Yes,
8779 now.
Yes,
877 cash now.
But let me tell you how God is in the midst of all of it. I need people to hear the details. My mother, while she was sitting in the lobby, let me double back to something else. I had went back home to New York for a little while because where I was moved out of state wasn't working for me. Briefly, went back, and I said, nah, I can't do this. Let me go back. But while I was there, I had applied for a job at this company because your girl is brilliant. Of course. I do my thing. I applied at this company called Jams. I'm a firm believer of whatever they offer you, they got double they could give you.
Of course.
So I negotiate.
Of course.
Got $30,000 more than they offered. Had my start date and everything. And then the day before I was supposed to start, they rescinded my offer. I was devastated. Oh, Lord, what is we gonna do now?
Right.
I'm talking rescinded my offer. I cried. I bawled tears. Circle back, we moved back out of state. That's where my case settled. Jams is a settlement negotiating type of law firm thing, and people come to them to settle their lawsuits.
Oh, wow.
Had I worked there, couldn't have happened.
Wow.
My mother was sitting in the lobby, spirited conversationalist. That's where I get it from. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what you doing?
Yeah.
Okay. And just chatting with this man in the lobby. She didn't know who the man was. She was just chatting. They get up, they call the parties into the settlement room. He goes in too because he has a vested interest. He was the man from the company that lent me the money. He said, my mother said, where you going? He said, oh, I'm coming here for, we have a settlement hearing. We have a lien on this.
Wow.
She said, which case? He was like, NATANIA REUBEN. She said, that's my child. That's what I'm here for.
Wow.
Do you know this man took 100 and something thousand off? I think I had to pay them $30,000. I promise you, I have the paperwork to prove it.
Wow.
He said, "You are such an amazing woman. I could only imagine who your child is. Tell you what, we'll take 30,000.
Jeez.
The God I serve. You cannot make this up.
Yeah.
You would literally have to be Yeshua to write this kind of script.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything comes together for those who love their Lord
Yep.
and are called according to his purpose.
Yep.
This is a story about God and faith and obedience. Yeah, there's a bullet and sensationalism and celebrities and all
Yeah.
that, but please understand, this is about obedience.
Yeah.
I sat on the phone and negotiated with them.
That's how you negotiated your settlement with
Yes,
Puffy.
my mother and my son handled the main thing, called me, and then I sat on the phone and negotiated.
No lawyer.
No, my lawyers were there.
Okay.
No, all the lawyers were there.
Okay.
But my lawyer then, a few years ago, I kept hammering her for the last 4 years, like, where is, Shyne owes me money. I want my money. Where is the documentation? Give me my, I got to look for it. We got to go to the court. Her legal assistant was there one day. He went to the court. While I was on the phone with her, she called. She's like, "Hey," she picked up the phone. "Hello, Ernie?" "Oh, we found it. We got the paper from the court. They found it in the system." I said, "Good. Send it to me."
Yeah.
I didn't get it till 2 years later.
So, do you see yourself?
I truly believe they bought her out. When I finally pressed her, "Give me my paper." And she's like, "Why are you doing these interviews? You're in violation of this and that." I said, "Call God."
He was already
I don't
speaking
care.
too.
Call God. They've been
Everybody was
speaking.
in violation. So
Listen,
that's not
the club
even.
owners told the whole
Yeah,
contents
everybody
of
was in violation,
The club
girl.
owners told the contents of the lawsuit the next, 2 days later.
Yeah.
2 days later. It was everywhere.
Yeah.
She gonna talk. I said, "I don't care what you say. I'm a grown woman, and you know I ain't never been no pushover. Who are you talking to?"
Yeah.
She is going off. I said, "Listen, F your, I serve an on-time God. They want to cease and desist me, bring God with you.
Yeah.
I don't answer to nothing else than that."
Yeah.
My mama could tell me something. God say, "Don't make that left, make this right." I'm going to take the butt whipping. I'm making where God told me to go. So she's like, "I watched you sign it. You knew." I said, "You watched me what? I watched you sat next to me and signed those papers." I said, "Yo, I instantly, God told me, she's paid off." I said, "You's an effing liar. You watched me? That's funny because I wasn't there."
You feel she was paid off by
Yes.
Puffy?
Yes. This woman was sitting on the phone espousing to me that she watched me sign the document. I was not there. I had to remind her. Now, like I said before about Shyne and that recording, I never play a game of your word against mine, only your word against you. And so, of course, I was recording.
Period.
I took a snippet.
Period.
I had my daughter clip a snippet.
Period.
I texted it to her and to hear her own voice.
Yep.
And I texted her, "I wonder what the price is for selling your soul now. Hope you didn't go too cheap." Oh, you best believe the next time I heard from her, she had a whole pound of act right and collect and gather.
Yeah.
And then I got my paperwork and all that. So I'm like, wait a minute. They were paid off. There's no way my settlement should have been this low. No way.
Do you see yourself revisiting your settlement with Shyne? Like if you were to reach out,
it was adjudicated. He owes me the money.
Okay.
It is interest and everything, which is in the standing, and he owes me money. He is in violation of the Son of Sam law. There was a serial killer in New York in the 70s called David Berkowitz. They nicknamed him the Son of Sam because he said a dog, his neighbor's dog, was telling him, dog named Sam was telling him to unalive people. And he walked all around New York and unalived a bunch of people.
what?
David Berkowitz, look it up, the Son of Sam. And then he tried to sell his story, and so they created a law called the Son of Sam law that says you cannot profit from your crimes. Shyne, Moses, Michael, Levy, Jamal, Barrow, you're in violation of the law, and I want my Skrilla. Run me my cash. Don't think we left you off the hook, J-Lo. Come out the line, come forward. Look at her net worth in 1999 and look at it now. You built your career and all of your accomplishments off the back of your lies and what you did to me. And if Pookie and Man had to sit in jail because they was in a car with a gun that they had nothing to do with, you had something to do with it. You brought that in. You are culpable. You are subject to a crime. And if nothing left, you are subject to my civil lawsuit, which I am filing soon. So to save yourself the headache, I can't tell you what to do. I want nobody to try to say I'm extorting them. But baby, you gonna pay. Or you could do it one of a couple of ways. You could voluntarily write that check and send me my Skrilla, or I will see you in court. But you best believe you gonna give me my recompense. I keep telling y'all, for every tear me, my child, my children, my family, my mother, my everybody had to cry, I want $1 million in exchange for every one I shed.
And period.
So get it together. Get yourself together. Jamal Shyne Barrow, violation of the Son of Sam law in New York. You cannot profit from your crimes. You owe me money from an adjudicated case from 2011. Pay me my money. Where my money there? Where my money there?
And period.
And whatever else on top that you owe me for this harassment. And the sin of all sinners, under the jail for you.
Under the jail.
May you have a lifetime of people fighting to make your bed. You made this whole bed. You made this bed. Baby, when I tell you hospital corners for that, tuck you in tight and sleep in your bed where you make. Rest in peace.
Salopui sal. Let me add a little bit more to that J-Lo thing. And J-Lo, you know you owe black women's reparations because she built, when you said she built her career off of your back, she also built her career off of the backs of black women like Ashanti.
And Natasha Ramos, listen.
Okay.
Shout out to Natasha Ramos and all the other women. I forgot their names, but trust me, you're not forgetting.
There's so many of them. You know she was getting her Ursula on.
We'll have Jessie pull them up.
Yeah.
You have filed copyright documentation. Federal copyright, the copyright organization, the Copyright Office is a federal agency. You fraudulently signed copyright documentation for songs for which you were not the vocalist. You've been collecting royalties for years.
Off of people.
Fraudulently.
Yeah.
Off of black and other melanated women. Built your whole career. We know what you sound like. It's out there. Yeah, Saturday Night Live, when you were singing, excuse me, that was so bad.
Oh my
See,
God.
the beauty of the internet is a blessing and it's cursed.
It is.
But what it does is it memorializes things in real time, in perpetuity.
In perpetuity.
You can't run from it.
You
darling.
can't run.
You cannot run.
Ubaka kui.
So make sure you get it together. You, your handlers. See, y'all could go through the internet and wipe all the content creators that's talking about, but you ain't got nothing for me. The stuff that will take me down ain't been created yet, boo.
How you doing?
It ain't been created. The particles and the neutrons and the elements, they cannot congeal. They cannot congeal to form anything that works against God's chosen one. Try make a way. I'm going to talk to your people them and send me my money because I want it. Me want it.
Where my money there?
Where it there?
Where it there?
You literally look at her net worth in 1999 and look at it now. And I don't just want my money. I want Natasha Ramos to get her money. I want Ashanti to get hers. I want everybody to get theirs because you thought you was going to, market off of the culture, like you said in your movie, when I was running up and down the street. Child, you went to a special high-priced Catholic school. You wasn't up on no block. You could have went around. You could have went and stayed in, oh, my daughter calling. You could have stayed up there in Beverly Hills where you was eating your pate and drinking your Delulu. But no, you wasn't happy. You wanted to come back to the block. My order from the bodega is a chopped cheese that didn't exist.
And an orange drink.
Baby. If you know, chopped cheese ain't exist back then. Nobody called no chopped cheese. Nobody. So you was fake for that. You did it to yourself. You are the architect of your own undoing. You, because you won't live in sincerity and honesty. You will have to make recompense to me. And if uno no like it, come and drag me in a court and sue me so I can bring discovery in with all those fraudulent copyright forms that you signed your name to for which you did not, someone else's intellectual property. Let's lay this pattern of abuse and fraud out. Like when you went to the grand jury and lied. It's a crime to lie to the feds. It's a crime to lie to law enforcement. A crime. So bring me in now. Come back, we talk.
Listen, I just got my life. I feel like you my soul sister.
I am.
Sister!
That's right, honey. That's right.
I feel like you are my soul sister. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
For sticking to your story and having the bravery to not let anyone tell you how to tell your story, when to tell your story. I'm in awe of your bravery. I'm in awe of your relationship with Christ.
Thank you.
So many would have fallen off.
Yeah.
Given what you have been through, but I love the fact that you've used your experience as a step, like a ladder, to just rise and rise and rise in your relationship with the Lord. I mean, what is the biggest takeaway you want for everyone who hears your story to have when they hear it, and where do you go from here?
I used to tell, I'm a life insurance agent, and so we have those conversations around my house and with my family. I'm not afraid to talk about death and meeting your maker. And one thing we should all, back in the days, they used to say, all I got to do is stay black and die. Listen, with the advent of all of this stuff, you ain't even got to stay black no more. I see a whole lot of y'all changing. But what we all will do is die. We will all meet our maker someday. Even Elon and them who think they forever. We will all meet our maker. And to that, I say to people, I used to tell my kids, when I'm buried, I want my name, my start date, and my end date, and I want you to put 3 words: integrity, morals, and respect. Now I don't want to be I don't want to be buried. I want to be cremated. Return me to the ether. Take that money you would bury in the ground. I ain't gonna use this flesh house no more. Go to Africa. Go to Ghana. Go to Gory Island. Spread my ashes in the sea of no return. I don't need for you to build a monument to the dead flesh that used to inhabit my soul. But I want people to take away. It is not what you go. It is not what happened to you, but it is how you navigate this journey while you are here. And because we will all have to make an account to God. You could say you don't believe in him, but baby, the elevator go 2 ways, up or down. You choose. Your actions will choose for you. You might think you're making a choice. Your actions will choose for you. Some of y'all gonna get on that up elevator, but baby, they're going to say, wrong stop. Remember, the word says, if you do not know me in your time, when you come to me in your time of need, I will say, depart from me. I don't know you.
I don't know you.
Wrong floor, boo. You going down. Don't play with me. Put some respect on my name. Act like you know. You think anybody but God can preserve my face with all those medical issues?
Let me tell you.
I know people that got stung with 10 bees and they look like they've been through war.
Yeah.
Look at me, 25 years later. I'm look nice, I'm good, I'm ready, I'm everything.
And you smell nice too.
Thank you, darling. That's the baccarat. But, I just want people to understand God is in the midst of all of this. There are people in your life right now crying out for help that are going things that you are ignoring because there's someone else that you want to align yourself with and you've deemed them higher on your hierarchy than that other person. There's a child that's probably being treated poorly and you're totally oblivious to it because you've gotten something out of it. There's a story the other day of the young lady, the trophy wife. You're so desperate to have that which you think makes you somebody that you sacrifice the thing that made you somebody that God gave you from your womb, from within. You sacrifice them for a YSL bag and some
Chanel.
Thank you.
Yeah.
How do you feel after that?
Yeah.
We have to have a moral plateau. Release the world. Release the things of the world and get into the spirit. Because at the end, that's really all you are. You are going to return to the essence. And when you have to make an account, like the Emperor Cat Williams says, the great prophet Cat Williams will go down in history. He said a lot of things on that video. But that clip of the opener, people skip right over it. This is the other side of Kirk Franklin sinking. This is the reckoning 2024. This year will go down in the ages. All the walls of Babylon come tumbling down.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that rubble, you will see me with my sling, my stone, and my pocket full of rocks. Me not done yet.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessie.
I really, really appreciate you spending this time with me. We've been talking for a minute, and I really feel like we did it at the right time.
Thank you.
We did it at the right time. I want you to let everybody know where to support you, where to follow you. I'm going to be coming on your channel.
Absolutely.
We're going to have some sister time
right.
on NATANIA's channel,
That's
Chanel.
right.
So yeah, let everyone know where to follow you on socials and, your channel as well.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Jessie, for thinking it not robbery to come and tell the story of God's child. Thank you. I appreciate it. Like, it means the world to me.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
When I was 16, God gave me, the first time I received prophecy from God, he said, you're gonna have 2 sons, Donovan and Devon. When I was 17, God gave me another prophecy that I would get shot in my face. Now, when I said the 2 sons, everybody was like, all the teenage girls was like, pregnant? You want to have a baby? Child, we trying to not get pregnant. I said, I didn't say I want to have a baby. I said, God told me I would have 2 sons. When I was 17, God showed me the prophetic vision of me getting shot in the head. It literally was the building I left the night when I went to borrow my sister's outfit. The prophecy at 17 was in front of her building.
Wow.
And later on, I left her house and went and got shot. People told me, don't mark yourself. You know how Caribbean, don't mark yourself. I'm not marking myself. Who wants to write that into their story?
Yeah.
God gave me the prophecy. And when I was 19, God gave me a prophecy that I would raise a little girl. When I tell you those 3, he gave me lots of other prophecies, but those 3 happened in that order in my life. I had 2 sons. I got shot. Years later, I had a daughter, my precious daughter. She is 15 and 18 years younger than her older brothers. I was taking my older son to college, pregnant. People was like, your sister pregnant? He said, it's my mother and I don't want to talk about it. And now they're inseparable. So please pay attention to the little things. Those little things all add up. Look at this powerful testimony.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me the other day, you need to be speaking at churches, civic organizations, schools.
You should.
People need to hear your unwavering faith, because that's what this all is.
Yeah.
A walk of faith.
Yeah.
It is obedience and a walk of faith.
Yeah.
And so, God told me cry aloud and spare not. And so I created the Dopest Nerd, which that's what I am. I'm a nerd. I've always been. I'm comfortable there. It's my identity. Shout out to my homegirl, Sam, who actually named me the Dopest Nerd. And I have a channel, The Dopest Nerd, on YouTube. My IG, which I'm not a fan of IG. I feel like it's a slimy alleyway, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's The Dopest Nerd on IG, The Dopest Nerd on TikTok, everywhere. Dopest Nerd. Okay. And I just try to speak truth to power. I'm always making sure I speak truth to power because it's important. We have to stop worshiping vanity. We learned a long time as Caribbean girls. He who worship gold and vanity have no love for humanity shall fade away.
It's funny, before you came in, I did record an intro, and I said in the intro, from the time I was a little girl, I have always been obsessed with the truth. So when you talked about speaking truth to power, that's really, like, even on my channel, I'm always seeking the truth. What is the truth? And I really felt that your truth,
thank you,
your truth is the truth. And that is why your voice really, really matters. And we need to platform your voice more, because it is the truth. And a lot of times people are okay with just hearing whatever. No, that's not me. I always want to know the truth. Like you said, I didn't say that, but I think that we are definitely in agreement, and it's important to speak truth to power.
Absolutely.
The truth is the most powerful thing.
My name on X, well, Twitter X used to be I Speak Truth. That was my name. That's me. Truth is everything.
Yeah.
My whole thing is I'm too fly to lie. What you gonna do? Beat my behind?
I'm too fly to lie.
Too fly to lie.
What you gonna do?
You can't beat me. I'm just gonna speak truth to power. So, and it disturbs people sometimes because your truth will disturb the demons in people. It will rise up the demons in people, and sometimes it's not to provoke you. It's not to provoke you to anger. It's to provoke you to see yourself and you know, do self-introspection and change who you are. God is calling you to look at yourself.
Yeah.
I realize that through life, I am a mirror, the litmus test, and the mirror for which people see themselves. And sometimes their reflection disturbs them greatly. They use other people as a litmus test by which they measure themselves. If I am so sold out for God, they think it highlights that they are not enough. And so they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And if people celebrate me for that, then they feel like, oh, you think I'm worse than you? No, perhaps you need to look into your own mirror, baby. Do your what Michael Jackson said. We start with the man in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the word says, how could two walk together but for the fact that they're equally yoked? And that's why this is so important to me. Yeah. You know, equal yoking is not just for eros, not just for romantic love.
Right.
It is for friends.
Yeah.
If it's for your acquaintances, it's for people you interact with. You should not be walking with anybody for which your story and your message doesn't align.
Yeah.
You should not.
Agreed.
We need to be conscious of that.
Agreed.
You cannot wallow in the pig pen and not come up with slop on your mouth.
Yeah. Agreed.
And so I'm out there in the YouTube streets, been truth telling for 25 years, and I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah.
I thank
what's
God
next?
for everything.
Oh, I thank God for you too.
Everything. I thank God for you for caring enough about the truth and about me and about survivors and being willing to tell my story. And your patience. You were very patient with me, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Because I felt like if it was gonna happen, it was gonna happen at the right time, and I feel this is the exact right time. My boyfriend even told me, he was like, it's gonna happen in the right time, and I was like, I'm just gonna lay it in God's hand. There's a reason why we connected. Indeed. And I just trust that. And
absolutely, that's
like where I'm at in life too, just in general. I'm like, you know what? Things will happen when they're supposed to happen.
It's perfect timing.
Perfect time. God's perfect timing. So I really hope that this podcast episode is a blessing to you.
Oh, it's going to be a blessing to you, too. It's going to go through the stratosphere.
I hope so. No, but
I'm a little sassy.
No, but I hope for the most part that it's a blessing to you, because
Thank you.
I want people to hear your story and hear the truth. And that's what I'm after, is the truth. And so I'm excited to see what you do next. I'm in your corner. And however I can support you,
Thank you so
whether
much.
it be going on your channel or even,
Absolutely.
you know, I'm wearing army fatigue pants, and NATANIA came in here. Hold on. She came in here. She came in here. Hold on. I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
She came in here with this really, really cute army fatigue jacket, and she said that she
That's
makes
my clothing
them.
line, Drip Militia.
This is so cute. And you know what's funny? Cass, who also is recording, she has on army fatigue pants. I was like,
because we came ready for battle.
I was like, look at the Lord.
God's army, honey. We God's army.
Yes.
And so,
and look at this, the nutritional facts
of a black
woman.
queen.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I do all types of jackets. I do for sororities, fraternities, and whatever. You know, if you have a special thing that you like, breast cancer survivor, things like that, I do to match whatever your needs are. And we have other designs as well, too, some denim with Ankara fabric and all that. So
I love it. I was like, look at it.
Holla
And
at your
y'all
girl.
know I always say black women's this, black women's
Yes,
that.
honey.
I'm like,
Yes,
for her to
honey.
come in with this, I'm like, oh yeah, this was great. So
I
yeah,
appreciate
you'll let us
that
know
for
how
you,
to
too.
get.
Absolutely. And I'll be making you your own.
Yes, I
custom
want
Drip
mine.
Militia.
Yes, I want mine, and I
I'm
will
making
post it
custom
and
Drip
make sure that
Militia
you.
for Jessie, and it's going to be a special one.
Period.
Trust
period.
and believe.
Period.
And I just appreciate everyone anyone who thought it not robbery to sit and watch this. I appreciate it. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us at a time such as this. And that's what's important to me. It's the little things. Remember the little things.
Yeah.
My grandmother always said, a kind word wards off wrath. And what I've found is I've God instilled in me when I was younger to look up my birthday in every scripture. You know, some scriptures don't go as far as your day is, but I look up and I found my scripture, Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and the ruler of this world for the rulers of this world and in the heavens. And we wrestle not against flesh and blood. That's the incarnation of my existence. I am wrestling against flesh and blood. I am fighting principalities and conquering them.
Yeah.
I am fighting principalities. So look up your birthday with the scriptures.
I'm
I
gonna do
guarantee you
that.
God has a message for you.
I'm going to do that.
And that could be what it's been all along.
Yeah. Well, we will be showing this during Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
So I guess we should end on that note. Like, what are you thankful for?
I am thankful for the God I serve. I am thankful for my family, that there were times, as much as my story is illustrious, there were times where I was a real stinker. It was the depression. It was all of the suffering. And I have to give credit to my little sister, Danielle, she went through, unfortunately, she had a stroke. Motherhood, maternity, especially for Black women, is maternity is important for her because she was giving birth to my nephew and she had a stroke 4 years ago. By the grace of God, they both survived and he's fine and so is she. She's doing so much better. But she said something to me that was earth-shattering. It was the blessing that I needed that I never knew I needed. She said to me one day, I would always call and say, how you doing? You good? What's up, beautiful? You know, because she went through challenges. She used to be in the fashion industry. And so there was a long recovery for this stroke. And she was paralyzed at one time. She came through a lot. And she called me I called her that day to check on her and she started crying and she's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, for what? And she was like, I should have been kinder to you. We should have listened to you more. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, when you went through all of that, we thought you were just angry or just belligerent, or we didn't necessarily, we weren't as kind as we should have been, and I regret that. I said, baby girl, no regrets. I'm not a grudge holder. Perhaps God saved you for a time just such as this, for you to understand. It was because she then was in the midst of her healing journey, and she understood what it was to have invisible scars, to not be able to push forward another day, and people saying, come on, you could do it. Just be happy you're alive. She was able to empathize and commiserate with me because there were times where I appeared to be belligerent and angry, but it was the depression. I was fighting to stay whole, fighting to keep...
You're fighting for your life.
Fighting to keep finding a reason to go on. I came close a couple of times. I'll be very honest.
I'm so happy you're here.
But my kids, looking at their faces, I'm not a quitter. I am so not a quitter. And just looking at their faces reminded me that your life does not just belong to you. Once you make the commitment to bring forth your destiny through your womb, you are obligated by virtue of your bloodline, by virtue of all the struggles that your ancestors before you endured, to keep fighting. I stand on the shoulders of a very long litany of amazing ancestors. My husband, Roger REUBEN Sr., God rest his soul. You are missed.
Aww.
You are missed dearly, dearly. For everything I've been through. He literally, and he was fighting his own balance. He had kidney disease, his own battle, and
he supported you.
Oh, even when we broke up, he was my best friend in the entire world. And I thank God that I was able to experience such an amazing man in my life. Let me tell you something. If you have somebody in your life that you love, you had better cherish them, because there will come a day where they are no longer there. And all the things left unsaid. It is my sincere belief that this man was a prophet. And it's my sincere belief he was a prophet. And I believe that maybe, they theorize your spirit will keep being reincarnated until you complete your assignment. And it is my sincere belief that his assignment was to get someone to love him unconditionally. And that was me. We broke up. We were still married. He refused to divorce me. We broke up. We went on with our lives. But even all the way through until the end, I always took care of him. People would say, you're stupid. I wouldn't give him nothing. He had diabetes. He would crash and have a diabetic coma, and I would give him the money to fix his car. And it was like, I wouldn't give him nothing. I said, mind your business. This is my husband. The word says, when a man findeth a wife, he findeth a good thing and get favor from the Lord.
And you
Who
were
are you
his
to
good
interrupt?
thing. You were his
I was
good
his
thing.
good thing and his favor. Don't interrupt me. I took care of him until his last breath, and I put him to rest, and I gave him a memorial service. It was my job to do. And I know it was ordained from God because we were born on the same day. We are both born on June 12th, 3 years apart, and he passed away on our anniversary.
Jeez.
I have an amazing family. We have a grandchild. He was alive to meet her and see her and experience her. You know, she calls him Grandpa Shark, and she walks in the house now and be like, "Hi, Grandpa Shark," because she knows he's still with us.
Yeah.
I feel him. Cherish the people that you love. Listen, this life is but a blip.
Yeah.
And then one day it will be over. You better cherish what you got.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about the world. You love him, go ahead and get married. You ain't losing nothing. You're gaining something.
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking. Who the cap fit, wear it. Do I need to pass this hat over? If the cap, I'm telling you, what you think you're holding out for, a lot of people are living life holding their foot in the door, hoping that something better passed by, disavowing who they have right now. You better stop looking for what's outside, baby, because what's out there, some of that you can't come back from. Okay?
Yeah.
You cannot come back. Love who you love. So shout out to, I dedicate this episode to, and every interview, to the favor that found me.
Amen.
Roger Reuben Sr., rest in peace, my love. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you guys for watching. Man, I know this episode is going to be a blessing not only to us, but to everybody who watches it. I have so many women, so many of you guys who are my sisters, you're survivors of so many different things. And so I think it's both of our prayers that Natasha's, not interview, but her testimony is a testimony that will inspire you, encourage you to keep going, to speak up for yourself, to never back down, and to keep your foot on whoever's neck.
That's right.
You need to keep it on. In Jesus' name.
Amen, 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 and amen, and Asheo. And I know my father's an ancestor, and I know my father's here right now because growing up, my mother called me NATANIA. She actually said NATANIA. My grandmother called me Natisha, and my father called me Natasha. And you just said Natasha. I know.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry.
No, he's here. They would not budge. They all called me their own name. I literally should have probably multiple personalities.
Oh my
on
gosh.
And I know he's here. So it's signs and wonder. God always speaks about signs and wonders.
wonders.
So
yeah.
shout out to my dad.
Well, thank
Shout
you
out
so
to my
much,
dad.
NATANIA.
Absolutely.
You have been a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you subscribe to Just a Couple Things Pod on every podcast streaming platform, and you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And make sure that you share this with a friend, multiple friends, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your cousins, your brothers. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye.
Like waterfall. Jessie Woo.
Pioneer.